Open it. Funny, backyard. Usually from the other side of the backyard, the hell. I'm gonna put up the canopy. Got the umbrella here. My good friend Bergman joining me. Gonna get a little football in today, college and pro and stuff that's going on. What's up, Bergie?
That's the new school dolphin hat.
Yeah, it's an old school hat. I just dug it out of my closet. I was like, I haven't worn this in a while, and I probably won't wear it again until after this.
There's probably a reason.
Yeah, there's probably a reason. Although I did like the Dolphins when I was growing up. I like Marino. I like the Clayton brothers.
Who didn't like Marino? If you didn't like Marino, you weren't a football fan.
Yeah. Well, his receivers didn't like it probably. Well, except when he threw it to him.
Duper and Clayton, they got a lot of balls.
Yeah. Oh, you dropped it, you motherfucker.
Yeah, he was a little rude to his people.
Marino did not mind getting on his teammates.
And when he made a bad throw, I didn't see him yelling at himself though.
No, and here's another thing you didn't see when he made a bad throw. He was not a guy that was going to go tackle the guy he threw it to either. He was like, "No, we're good. We're good. That's your job."
He burned about a 5-foot circle around that pocket.
He was good. He was good. That's why, like Steve Young always said, "I make the mess. I'm going to help clean it up." He always went and tried to attack on. I always appreciated that.
He's a different breed.
He's a different breed.
He's a little bit better athlete.
A little bit better athlete than Marino. Yeah. Oh my gosh! And we're drinking from Faction. We're drinking Bergs of a Feather in honor of Bergie. I said, you know what? Hey, look at this. I found a beer with Bergie's name in it.
And it's not an IPA.
And it's not an IPA. It's a black lager. We try to stay woke on this show, so we're drinking black lager. I bought it
day after Juneteenth.
I bought it on Juneteenth. Okay. So give me credit for that. I was thinking. I was proactive. I said in honor of Juneteenth, I'm getting a black lager. And very, very tasty, by the way. Football. You've been a Giants fan for a long time.
Yes.
Thoughts on the Devers trade?
I think it's fantastic. I feel like we finally fleeced somebody instead of getting fleeced.
You think we fleeced them?
I do.
Tibbs could be good.
Could be.
And Harrison is at least a starter. Maybe a back-end starter, but I think he could ultimately be better. I don't know that he will.
You know, I think about who's going to fill the stadium up a little bit more. I think that Devers is going to put a few more butts in the seats and, just to have that power from the left-hand side. I mean, we haven't had it since Bonds. No. A guy that can consistently hit the home run. Now, we'll probably hit one home run the rest of the year. I say that, but I thought it was a great trade, something that they needed, a little spark. Yeah. I think that everybody who's a Giants fan is excited about it.
Yep.
And that's what they wanted to do, is get a little more excitement.
Yeah, I think one of the things that stood out to me was if Farhan were still here, that's probably not a trade they make.
Not a chance.
Probably not a trade they make. No. Buster's a player. Buster understands. And I also think, to your point, I mean, you got to have some offense. I said it's nice to win around the fringes, but you got to have some meat. I always made the analogy. Sprinkles are nice on ice cream. They're not nice as a standalone item. You got to have some ice cream. They haven't had ice cream there in a while. This guy gives them some ice cream in the middle of that order. It looks like he eats it, a fair amount of ice cream, too.
Yeah, that's another reason I like him. He kind of fits the mold of the everyday person, not the everyday player. A little bit more John Kruk-ish than Barry Bonds.
Not quite Krucky, but yeah, I would say on that side of the ledger. Definitely on the Kruk side of the ledger. But yeah, it gives him something in the middle of the order that now, hopefully like Bonds, it makes the other players around him a little bit better because they get better pitches to hit. He's a 900 OPS guy. He draws a lot of walks. He can hit the ball out of the yard. So I don't think it's not without risk, because if Tibbs ends up being a player, Hicks is at least a decent back end of the bullpen guy. And I think Harrison still could be a 2-3, maybe a 2, possibly a 3. And look, maybe the weight balloons and maybe he's not that good 3 years from now. I'm not sure. So I think there's still some risk, but
they don't want to
keep that guy. They didn't. So they didn't want to make that mistake with Devers. Devers like, okay, if I'm the guy, cool, that's awesome, great. And then they go get Bregman.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, Bregman's going to play third. It's like, what do you mean Bregman's going to play third? I'm the third baseman. I'm your guy. And they're like, yeah, but Bregman's better at third. So how about you just be the DH? He's like, all right, I'll be DH.
Well, in all the sports, you get the big money guys and the egos that come with it. And, I don't know the ins and outs what was happening with Boston. I know when they got Bregman and they wanted to move him to first, he threw a big hissy fit on that. He hasn't seemed to do that here. I mean, he's not going to displace Chapman at third. Probably might be the best third baseman in the game.
Definitely one of them.
And so, if he's going to get reps, it's got to be at first.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's any doubt about it. And look, that's why I love Mookie Betts so much. He's a right fielder, Hall of Fame right fielder. He's a MVP right fielder. And he says, you need me at short? Sure. I'll give it a shot. And how many guys would do that? And he's a really good shortstop too. I mean, he's just an amazing athlete.
He's an amazing athlete. And he seems, obviously he seems like an amazing person. He's a good interview. He always speaks positively of the other team. He doesn't create any havoc in the locker room at all, from what I hear. And guys just want to be around and want to play with him.
Yeah. All right, I'll ask you this because I don't know that you watched any of the Dodgers Padres this past weekend. Dodgers took 3 out of 4. Yeah. Actually, it was this week, wasn't the weekend. But 8 guys got hit. 8 guys got hit. And I don't know how many Dodger pitchers hit Padres on purpose, but they were hitting Tatis a fair amount of time. And I think the Padres just said, okay, fuck it. That's it. We're going to – They clipped Ohtani twice. Yeah. And the last time they got Ohtani, for sure they did it on purpose. They're just like, screw it. We're up 5-0. We're going to go hit this dude. Are you a believer? I'm thinking you will be. But are you a believer in frontier justice? Let players police players? Or do you think you can't let players police players because it gets out of hand? You can't let it get to that level.
No, I agree with you. I think you got to let them take care of it. And I don't know if 8 guys, if it deserves 8 guys getting hit, but you hit their main guy. You hit Ohtani twice. You've done what you needed to do.
Yeah.
You've said the message. Okay, we're not going to play that game with you. If you're going to throw it, we'll do it with you. But and then I saw Roberts was going after the Padres manager, and it was one of those hold me back type things.
Hold me back. I don't want to get there.
And then he's talking. I'll see you out. I'll meet you down there. I'll tell you what's happening down there in the dugout. Well, why don't they bring the cameras down? I want to hear that.
Yeah, I want to hear that one because I was probably like, hey, look, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. But you got to stand up for your team.
Yeah.
All right, one of the things we wanted to do, since we got Bergie here, and Bergie's going to join us on a lot of Sundays doing football, watch football, talk football, except when he's traveling the world in October, which he likes to do. He likes to travel the world.
Yeah.
He's seen a lot of the world. So we were going to do, just because Bergie played quarterback and knows a lot more about quarterbacking than I do, we're going to do our QB tiers, NFL QB tiers. I know this is very sports talk fucking esque to do something like this in June, but I figured, you know what, I want to do it because it'd be fun. It'd be kind of fun.
You never get tired talking football. I don't think anybody gets tired of listening about it either.
They absolutely don't. So I'm going to keep track of it. They're going to keep track of it on the computer. They're going to throw it up there. So we're going to have a tier 1, a tier 2, a tier 3, and a tier 4.
So are we talking, we're going to fill that up with all the teams or?
Yes, all starters.
Okay.
I think
all starters. So we're dividing it equally amongst tier 1, tier 2, or?
No. It's just whoever you think. So just tell me what you think they are, and I'll tell you what I think they are. I guessed on a couple starters like Cleveland. I put Flacco, and I put Cam Ward for Tennessee, just because God, they can't start Will Levis again. I would have to make a new category if I included Will Levis, tier 5.
Something's missing with him. I think it's
look, if you like Mayo that much, you're gonna suck. Okay, you're not gonna like Mayo that much and be that good. It's not that good.
With a spoon.
May your mayo be creamy.
Maybe if you put sprinkles on it.
And
here is where I.
He's not bad. You could win games with him. Now, could you win a Super Bowl with him? I think, like a lot of quarterbacks in tier 2, you got team around you. There's only a few, and we'll get to those guys that the team doesn't have to be great. It's still got to be good, but they can win because they're special. Dak isn't that, and I agree. I think bottom of tier 2.
And there's also a couple factors you have to factor in there.
And I mean, he's gotten hurt and missed considerable amounts of the last few seasons, and what they always say, the best ability is availability.
Yep.
And he has been unavailable, and that's cost their team.
Yep.
And they haven't done much to address the receiver situation. They had CeeDee Lamb, and not much else.
Well, they got my man from Pittsburgh.
This year they do. Yeah.
What was his name? The guy from Georgia, Pittsburgh.
Oh, the guy, the problem child.
Yes, exactly.
Pickens.
Pickens, thank you.
Yeah, and once again, he's another guy. Is he going to be available? I mean, he does some things.
Pickens, you're Grinnins.
He's he's got a lot of ability, but can he remain on the field too?
Yep. And he's going to be happy being a number 2 receiver.
Real happy. He'll be a good locker room guy on that.
He'll be super pumped. All right, next, Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, I mean, he's a solid. I would put him towards the top of tier 2.
Okay.
The guy has proven he can win. Yep. And I think I watch him. He's gotten better and better. He had a little bit of a sophomore slump, but a slump for him wasn't that bad. They were still competitive. They were good. He finds ways to win. And you know what? Everywhere he's been, he's won. The guy he was a good locker room guy at Alabama. When you're the starter and you get sat down in the national championship game in the second half, after being undefeated, and you take it the way he did, I got a lot of respect for a guy like that. And at Philly, he's done so many good things. He's so dangerous with his feet. The push or the tush push, whatever they want to call it. That's something, obviously a lot of it's because of him. He's so physically strong and he moves the pile. And because Jason Kelce retired, they're still able to do it just with the same amount of success. He's throwing the ball much better. I don't think he's a pure thrower. And I think that the 49ers last year kind of figured out how to play him. Not last year, but 2 years ago when they were in playoffs. Force him to stay in that pocket. And if he is going to bail outside, he struggles with that. When he really is good is he steps up in the pocket and then he steps through the pocket and makes things happen that way. But if he's on the move, not as effective, but high top tier 2 guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I had him at top in the second tier. I had him high up in the second tier. When I think of Jalen Hurts, I just think winner.
Yes.
He's a winner and he's a leader. Yeah. He's not the best thrower of the football, but he doesn't have to be because he complements his throwing with his legs. So you're going to bring the defense up a little bit, and then you can use your arms. He's got a really good receiving core, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 guys he has, Smith and Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're so different too. You got a real big physical dude, and then kind of your speed guy. Yeah. They can get down the field. They've had good tight ends, and then Saquon.
And you add Saquon into that. That's going to push him if he keeps progressing the way he is with Saquon in that lineup. He could become a tier 1 guy.
It could be
because,
and don't forget about the offensive line.
The offensive line, and with Saquon, the way they run the ball, teams have got to stop the run, which makes it so much easier to pass. And teams can't, just pin their ears back and come at you because they run the ball so well. That'll make him even better. So if he keeps progressing, I could see him moving up into the tier 1 guy.
Yeah, no, I just think winner when I think of Jalen Hurts. Do we need to go over this one too much? Mahomes. let's just put him.
He had
Just
some
tell us
hiccups.
he did.
Year.
He wasn't as good this year. You're right.
He's amazing.
The offensive line wasn't very good. His receiving core was depleted, and he still managed to get him to the Super Bowl.
Well, what's crazy is if you were going to teach a kid how to play quarterback, he'd be the last guy you'd show. Because he does things you should not do as a quarterback. Yep. He throws back across his body so effectively, and that is just the cardinal sin. Never throw back across your body. He sees guys. He throws guys open better than anybody I've seen, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets rid of the ball quick. He doesn't hold on to it. He utilizes Kelsey a little too much. I think last year he looked at him a little too much, and teams kind of shut that down. They didn't have many weapons on the outside. And they still go to the Super Bowl and they still win games. And it's him and the combination, him and Andy Reid together, I think is right now what's keeping them above everybody.
Yeah, I would have him at the top of
Absolutely.
tier 1. Like, I think he's the best quarterback in the game.
Yes.
Losing Rashee Rice hurt last year. And the thing about him, too, if you notice, you watch him during the playoffs, he runs more. He won't run during the regular season, but he knows now, okay, now we got to win to advance. And if I have to, I'll get us 10, 15, 20 yards. Like, he's a good runner. He just doesn't do it because he doesn't have to. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to put his body in jeopardy. But nah.
My only criticism of him is, he gets a lot of calls. I mean, if you breathe on him,
he gets calls.
He gets, and rightfully so. He is the face of the NFL right now, and you want to keep the face of the NFL healthy and keep him out on the field. But when he, a couple times last year, he was going to run out of bounds, and he cut back. And they hit him.
Yeah.
And, he knew that was going to happen. And that's smart football play.
It is smart.
And that's being a smart football player. I don't necessarily like it. And I think that the league's got to do something about that because it's pretty obvious that's what he was doing. But that's a small knock right there.
I'd say, they had to look into finding stuff like that.
Yes.
That's garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Justin Herbert.
I'm a huge Justin Herbert guy. I put him towards the bottom of the first tier, though.
Really?
I do. I put him towards. Wow. I put him that high. I think he can make every throw, and I don't think he's been working with a lot of talent around him. They're improving their offensive line. They took Alt last year, and that helped a lot. They took another lineman this year. They
got Slater on one end and Alt at the other end.
So that's going to help a lot.
Yeah.
The running game. It's okay. They did all right in the run game last year.
They got Najee, right?
They got Najee, but Najee is, he's not the breakaway threat and those types of things, but he fits perfect into a Harbaugh offense. Pound it up in there, gets 5-6 yards. That's it. That's a Harbaugh type game.
Yeah.
I think Harbaugh will keep it fairly simple in their offense like he did, when he was with the Niners, going to try and run the ball and then be effective with the pass. I think Herbert is exceptional. I do. I think he's got great feet. He played last year. He was hurt, and he still moves. I mean, he moves around for such a big guy. He moves in the pocket so well. He knows the entire offense, knows where everybody is. And if you put him on a team with talent, let's say of the 49ers 2 years ago, I think they may not lose a game. And I think he's that good. And I mean, I when I say that, I still put him towards the bottom of tier 1 because I think there's guys better. 3 or 4 or 5 guys better, but I think he's a tier 1.
Okay, yeah, I got him tier 2. I got him probably.
Why do you have him tier 2?
Well, I mean, anytime it's a money game, in playoffs he's been brutal. He was awful last year against the Texans. I'm not going to put the whole loss on him, but they were like 28-3 against the Jags a couple years ago and lost that game. Or just something like he looks the part. He's tall. He's got a cannon for an arm. I think he's really good. He just hasn't won the big games consistently enough for me to put him in that tier. The other guys to me that are in tier 1 have won a lot more big games and have been more consistently really good against really good competition. So I like Justin Herbert. I do. And I think you could win with him. Absolutely.
Well,
but I'd still have him in. He's a tier 2 for me.
To me, I liken him. He doesn't have the release Marino did, but I liken him to a Marino type guy, and Marino had the same issues. And people would say, "Oh, they didn't have a running game. Their defense wasn't very good." You could say the same about San Diego, the LA Chargers. And I feel they get the similar rap. And to me, Dan Marino's a definite tier 1 type guy.
Oh yeah, he's an all-time tier 1.
And I
all-time
think
tier 1.
I think Herbert's a lot like him with better feet.
Yeah, I think that I think you're stretching a little bit if you think Herbert's anywhere close to Marino.
Well, Marino lost a lot of close games.
Marino was fucking great.
He was great, but he lost a lot of close games.
Marino's a Hall of Famer. He first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, I think Herbert's going to be a Hall of Famer.
I think he will, but let's wait until he gets there. Okay, here's an interesting Baker Mayfield.
Boy, I was thoroughly astonished how well he played this year, and there's a guy. He finds ways to win.
Yeah,
he's a gamer. He's a lot like Jalen Hurts, not as good as Jalen Hurts, but he finds ways to win like that. He had some games this year where they had no business being in the game, and he single-handedly kept them in it.
Yeah,
with his feet, with his decisions. He takes some chances, but I think he has to take some chances, with Tampa, because if they're going to beat some of those good teams, they got to take a few chances. As far as tiers go, I would put him. He's a borderline. To me, he's a borderline bottom tier 2. Top tier 3.
Yeah.
Borderline right in there.
Yeah.
I certainly think you can win with him, and you put him on a team with good talent, he's going to find a way to win.
Yeah.
And,
I got him top tier 3.
Yeah.
And I think 4 years ago, I probably would have had him in tier 4.
Absolutely. Or out of the league.
Yeah. Maybe tier 5.
Yeah.
I thought he was a bust. I thought his Baker Mayfield brand almost came before Baker Mayfield, the quarterback. It was putting the cart ahead of the horse. It's like, hey, why don't you just learn to lead a football team and play in the NFL and be a good quarterback, and then all that stuff will come. It's hard to tell guys to turn down money, but I don't know if it was Geico or State Farm, whatever. I was like, God dang, getting tired of seeing these fucking commercials. I'm watching the game. I can't get away from Baker Mayfield at the stadium. And over the last few years, you don't see any of that anymore.
You don't.
He's just a quarterback, and he's a tough
guy.
SOB.
And
man.
I don't know if there's many people in the league that love football more than him. You can
Probably
just tell
not.
He loves the game.
Yep.
He loves the competition. He loves the challenge, and he rises to the challenge. And just how much he's improved, and that also shows a lot of coaching. He's been in some places that he didn't get much coaching in.
Yeah.
I think he got some really good coaching from the quarterback coach, the guy who actually took the head job with the. He was going to take a job, then he took another job. What was that?
Who? Where's he the head coach of now?
He was the Tampa Bay OC, and then
yeah. Isn't he the head coach of
Jacksonville? Maybe
no, Canales, the Carolina head coach.
Yes, Carolina.
Yeah,
and I think he did a tremendous job.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know that he had some good weapons when they were healthy with Evans and with Godwin.
Yeah,
I mean they did some really good things, and high top, bottom of the top tier, or excuse me, bottom of tier 2, top of tier
I put
3.
him top 3. I put him at the very top of 3, and I'm with you. I think you can win. You can win with him because his attitude's incredible.
Well, another one that's going to come up, we might as well go to him right now because he's in a similar mode.
Well, shit, you're going to.
Let's not go to. I was going to say Kyler Murray, but we can go.
All right, well, let me cross off Kyler Murray then, because I got him on here somewhere. Okay, let me cross off Kyler Murray. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about Kyler Murray, because I'm not in any way, shape, or form a Kyler Murray guy.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
The only reason I say, they obviously both went to Oklahoma, and they both not real big guys. They both run around and make plays. But it's obvious one loves football and one does not. And
one loves Xbox.
One loves Xbox.
Yes,
I think I told you that. Whenever you always go against the Cardinals when the new Call of Duty comes out, because that's all he's going to be playing. Yeah, if
that's
you
a tip for everybody out there. When Call of Duty comes out, bet against the Cardinals that week,
because Kyler Murray's not going to be watching film.
He's going to have his headset on, his sniper goggles on, and he's going to be out there yelling "Code Blue, Code, let's go," waving troops up, and Kyler Murray. He'll be ready to go. Not for the game, though.
No, and his size kind of makes him vulnerable to the injury, which he always has a few little injuries here and there.
He's hard to catch, though.
He's quick. He is really quick, and he's a guy that in a 2-minute drill can make so much havoc, create so much havoc with his feet. But his decision making, his body language on the field, and just the way he carries himself, I'm putting him in a tier 4.
Wow,
I am.
I wasn't going to go that far.
I put him at the top of the tier 4. I don't think you can win with him. I don't think you can.
Well,
win
at least
with him.
put him at the top. He'll be glad to hear that. I was gonna put him tier 3. Good Lord.
Yeah, well, I
Okay,
just
no,
think
I
much
don't.
of him.
I don't mind that though. I don't. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to do this to where it's even.
Yeah,
I was just doing it where I thought. But no, I'll go with. I mean, I'll go. I would go tier 3, but I don't mind that. I mean, I'm not. Look, you're with me. We're not Murray
no,
guys.
not a
We're
Murray
just
guy.
whatever. What it is. Okay, Michael Penix. I was gonna put Michael Penix tier. Like, look, there's gonna guys come up, and if you've only played a year, or you're a rookie, the highest I'll put you is tier 3 for me. Even though I think some of them could be 2, one in particular.
Yeah,
but I just think, I mean, look, to me, Penix is an incredible thrower of the football, and he's really accurate.
He's very accurate. Big arm.
Like, I think he might be really good. We didn't see a lot of him last year. I don't have a lot on him. I watched him play at Washington. It was a great deep ball. Like maybe the best I've seen since Russell Wilson threw good deep balls when he was with Seattle. But I haven't seen enough of him to know, but I think they have a really good chance to have a quarterback that is dynamic this year. Cousins is just, he run the offense, does the stuff. He can win games for you, but I think Penix could be good, but I'll put him at tier 3 just because we haven't seen enough of him.
I would too. Like you said, it's such a small sample size of what he did. His feet, I think, could be a hindrance. He's had so many injuries to his knees.
Yeah.
He tore his knees up at Indiana, and that's kind of why he left there and to get into more of a shotgun type system where he didn't have to run around. That could catch up to him in the NFL for sure if they start putting a lot of heat on him, because he doesn't have the quickest of releases. He's kind of long with his release, but he makes up for it with arm strength.
Yeah.
And he does, and he makes good decisions. He's a very good quarterback. And I think that having Cousins on the team will help him. Cousins seems like the kind of guy that can help him out. Almost a player coach type guy.
Yeah.
He's been through so many different things, and I think I put him towards the bottom of tier 3, because I don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him tier 4 because, like you said, small sample size. We don't know what he's going to do, but I'd put him quite a bit above of Kyler Murray type guy.
All right. How about Aaron Rodgers?
If you asked me 10 years ago, I would have put him in tier 1.
Absolutely.
And you know what? That's such a hard one because we're talking about a tier 1 quarterback in his latter years.
Yeah.
And he's certainly not a tier 1 guy now, but I can't put him more than I put him probably a high tier 2 because he still can make the throws. He gets hurt an awful lot now too because of his age. He doesn't move around as well as he did. He does some things. He's good for 3 or 4. Like, what the fuck throws were that? What was that?
Yeah.
And I don't. He's always done that, but he's been able to get away with it. He brings so much drama now, and it just seems like it's the Aaron Rodgers show. And to me, that's part of being a quarterback and part of being a tier 1 guy. If you want to be that, you've got to be able to step up and be the guy, the face of the franchise, and somebody that young guys look up to. I don't think he has that anymore. Yeah. All the stuff he's done off the field and some of the stuff on the field. But I still got to put him in the tier 2 because of the fact that he can make those throws. And if you put him in a good team, which Pittsburgh, I think the world of Tomlin. I think Tomlin's a great coach, and I don't think Tomlin will put up with his bullshit. I think Tomlin runs a tighter ship. He's much more conservative, which is going to help him. It's going to help Rodgers not having to throw 50 times a game.
Okay.
But that's where I would stand with him.
Okay. I'm gonna have to get you another beer.
Where did you? You didn't say.
I have Rodgers mid to lower mid tier 3.
Tier 3.
I think fucking Rodgers is toast. I think the fact that he showed up last year. Look, if you want to do your ayahuasca and you want to do your darkness retreat and you want to do your stuff, but for God's sakes, you're coming to a new team. You got an offensive coordinator in there you handpicked. You got these players that you asked the Packers to sign for you to bring in to make you feel comfortable, and then you fucking go and miss OTAs. Come on. Are OTAs for him a huge deal? No, he knows everything. But you still need that chemistry. You want to be there. You're the leader. You want guys to see, hey, Aaron Rodgers is here. He's committed to the program. He's committed to the team. And that got the whole season off to a shitty start. and it went downhill. And I just don't know how committed he is to playing. And I mean, like the numbers suggest that toward the latter half of last year, he was pretty good. He was pretty good. There was nothing on the line at that point. There was zero on the line. So I don't know how much he's into it anymore. I mean, look, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. In my lifetime, and I was a huge Dan Marino fan, huge Dan Fouts fan. Those guys could wing it. I don't remember as much because I was young. I don't remember a lot of the memories, but I remember enough how good they were. But in like my cognizant years, being able to retain all this, Aaron Rodgers is the best thrower of the football I've ever seen. Like, he's incredible. I always thought he was better in just physical tools, throwing and running and accuracy than Brady and Manning. I thought he was better than both of them.
Oh, quickest release. But Marino type release
exactly.
Quick and strong arm.
But now the skills aren't quite there, and I don't know if he's quite there. Like, I just don't know if he's there. So mid-high three is as high as I could put him.
I'm going to give him a pass on the Jets stuff because the Jets are a shit show.
But he helped it along too.
He helped it
along,
like
but he showed up and said, "Okay, fucking guys, follow me." He's like, "Guys, follow me when I get back from ayahuasca. I'm gonna go get fucking stoned out of the bejesus, and fucking I'll be back and let's get after it."
Not just ayahuasca. Let's go to the dark room.
The darkness room.
Sit in the darkness room.
And whatever. If that's your thing, then that's your thing. That's cool. But god dang, not when people are there. Not like, hey, I'll be back. Where's Rodgers? I have no idea where he is.
Like I said, the off the field stuff is a big hindrance. But I don't think Tomlin puts up with that. I think I think it's a much tighter ship, and he's going to a good place that way. I think he'll respect Tomlin more than he has other coaches. And I mean, shit, who knows what's going to happen? Would you put him below or above Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, the two guys that they had last year, who are not starters anymore? So
we'll get to them, but probably above. Probably above. I mean, I'd definitely put Fields ahead of Wilson. I'm just Wilson. Yeah. Wilson to me is toast.
Yeah, he's another guy that was.
You got him. You got him in the second.
I got him high. I got him, not towards the bottom of the second.
Okay, and I got middle of the third. Okay. Hey, look. Like I said, I just wrote these down in the order they play each other. Or they play week one. Justin Fields.
Small sample size again. It hasn't really been given to me. I mean, when he was with the Bears, they were abomination. They were terrible. Yep. He had no weapons to throw to. They had no defense, no offensive line. Their coaching carousel was up and down. He had a bunch of different coordinators. So that was tough. And to start your career out there, then he goes to Pittsburgh and he's battling it out there with, and I agree with you. I would have played him ahead of Wilson. Yeah. I thought that he had a lot more upside to him. I hate that word upside though. I hate that word upside. It's Mel Kiper says that.
Upside.
Mel Kiper's a bozo.
And resilience.
But he's athletic. He's got a big arm. And I think given the opportunity, he could be a guy, not a tier one guy, but he could be a bottom tier two, top tier three type guy.
Really?
Down the road.
I have him tier 4.
I don't have him tier 4. I think he's got a lot of physical.
So you think he's better than Kyler Murray?
I do.
Really?
If you had me choose between the two of them,
Shiza.
I think he likes football a lot more, and I think he's
better. I mean, that's a good point. Yeah. I still would have Murray ahead of Fields, but you have Fields level 3, tier
level
3? I have him level 4.
Okay,
just because he hasn't.
It's small sample size,
throwing.
But he's done some good things when he has had the opportunity, and he's been inconsistent with it. But his teams have been so shitty.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Tua,
man, you just look at the production Miami has when he's on the field and when he's not.
Yeah.
And you have to say the guy's got ability.
Yeah.
And he has some way. As far as Miami goes, I get McDaniel. I don't have a lot of respect for, because if you're supposed to be this offensive genius, you have to find ways to get your players the ball when your quarterback's out of the game. Yeah. And you don't get the ball to Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's got to get 15, 20 touches a game if your quarterback's not playing. And he was going games with no catches sometimes, no touchdowns for 5 games.
Guess who was fully aware of that?
Yeah.
Me. Because he was on my fucking fantasy team. It's like, goddamn, throw him the goddamn ball.
Well, and
just pitch it to him. Let him run.
Hand it to him.
Let him do his jitterbug shit. Yeah. Like, boop, boop.
Throw him screens.
Yeah.
Chuck it deep to him a little bit, but they didn't even make the effort. It's almost like they gave up when Tua got hurt. But when Tua's there, and it's pretty easy to call plays when you got guys like like Tyreek and Waddle's really good.
Waddle's really
so they've
good.
got a good receiving core. Tua, I think, is a difference maker. He's not a tier 1 guy, but he's definitely a tier 2 guy.
I agree.
And he makes a lot of plays with his feet. And even though he probably shouldn't now with the concussion stuff, and that's a hindrance, that right there is enough to knock him down a lot.
Yeah.
Because he's one hit away from being out of the league.
I know.
And that's and some of those hits aren't even from the tackle, they're from the ground. His head hitting the ground, and it just happens so often that there's so much scrutiny on it through the national media, and and that's another thing. It's it's up to him whether he wants to play it. If you are saying no, he shouldn't play, it's up to him. He's a grown man. He's making good money, and he knows the risks in it. If he doesn't want to do it, he won't do it.
Yep.
And but I put him tier 2, right in the middle of tier 2.
No, I mean, I'm with you on that. I think he gets a little bit of a ding because maybe he doesn't have the strongest arm, but it's strong enough. And that dude is deadly accurate.
Yeah, so accurate.
I mean, that dude is deadly accurate.
And we talked about throwing guys open. He's really good at that. Knowing where the guy's going to be and throwing to a spot. Really he's as good as there is on that.
Yeah.
Mahomes obviously does that probably the best. But I think Tua is a close second as far as understanding where his guys are going to be. And, and
if I'm Mike McDaniels and he's going to run, I'm going to say slide 5 yards early.
Yes.
Slide. Don't even come close.
Yes.
Because that hit he took last year, we were watching the game. Was it Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football game? Or was it 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago when he got up and then went back down.
Oh, I mean, it was brutal too. He didn't know what he was doing. It's like, should I slide? Should I run? Should I? And then he fucking gets hit. And he ends up laying on the ground stiffer than an 18-year-old on Viagra. Like he was just like, I was like, oh God, somebody help him. Like,
I hope 18-year-olds don't have to take Viagra.
Well, if they do, they're gonna be pretty hard. I mean, it was like scary to see that. It was like, dude got instant rigor mortis. I thought he was dead but it's like, you got to learn how to slide. Like some of these guys that don't know how to slide. Like, didn't you play Little League growing up? You don't know how to slide. How are you an athlete and you do not know how to slide?
It's more of it's an ego thing, and it's also I can get around this guy, but
what doesn't make you look cooler, looking like a fucking spaz?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. 100%. Get down. It's
slide head first. Just slide. Get down.
You see, I mean, once again, our favorite Kyler Murray, he'll be in the pocket and it collapses. He just falls to the ground. And honestly, that's probably what Tua should do.
You probably.
But that's what makes him a pretty damn good quarterback. Is he does keep the play alive a little bit longer.
Yep.
And he makes those plays.
Yeah, no, but get down, Tua. Get down. We like watching you play. Dolphins are a fun team to watch.
Dolphins are a threat when he's healthy.
Tua is tier 2. Tua is tier 2. Unanimous tier 2. Okay, I think we might have a unanimous tier 4. Anthony Richardson.
Oh, boy, he is one of the Combine's dream guys.
Oh, they loved him.
He's Jamarcus Russell.
Yes.
He is Jamarcus Russell. Throw it 70 yards from your knees again.
Yep.
This guy's a physical specimen.
At least Jamarcus Russell played quarterback in college. Yeah. He was pretty good at LSU.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Anthony Richardson wasn't a good quarterback in Florida.
He made the same mistakes there as he does now.
Yeah.
Now he may be a pro football player at another position.
He might be.
The guy is a freak of an athlete. He's
incredible.
huge. He can run and I mean, he's got a huge arm, but he's not a quarterback at this point. And they need a guy in there that can coach quarterbacks to get anything out of him. If it was up to me, I'm with you, tier 4.
Yeah.
Athletically, as good as anybody in the league, but as a quarterback, tier 4, get a guy in there that can help him, move him up so that he can manage the game, because he's got some of that stuff you can't coach.
Yeah.
But right now they need somebody to get the most out of him, and they don't have it.
Yeah, no, I got tier 4 for Anthony Richardson. I mean, he could throw it. He could throw it through a fucking barn door.
He can run around you through you.
He just doesn't know what barn he's throwing into. He's like, I threw it through the barn door, but I was aiming for that barn. If I went to that barn. Oh, man. I'm about ready for another beer. We got I don't have any money to tip, so hopefully you guys can help me out. Okay. I think I know we're going with this one. We talked briefly about him, Russell Wilson.
Past his prime. Was awesome in the Seattle system, just really good improvising plays. I don't think he's ever been a terrific pocket quarterback. He always threw a good deep ball. He threw a great deep ball, but he's never been a pocket guy. He's more of he's a Fran Tarkenton, Jim Zorn type guy.
Yep.
Really make plays out on out on the edge, and he doesn't have that anymore. He's lost several steps. Sure, thank you.
You like this 1970s lager? Yeah.
There's not many lagers I don't like.
1970s lager. That takes you back to
the 70s.
Yeah, maybe maybe Zodiac drank this in the 70s.
Son of Sam.
Did you want to fix your cushion?
The cushion is.
You're sitting.
I know.
You're sitting on the fucking. I don't know.
There was so many spots on here. I'm trying to avoid all these.
That can't.
I don't know what this stuff is on here. It could be.
Oh well, I'll get the purple light out.
It could be anything.
We can see what it is. Nah,
usually, an 18-year-old on Viagra might have been sitting here. I don't know.
Go inside for that. I wouldn't be outside. Maybe the bunny's out here.
Russell Wilson. You know what? I out of respect, I can't put him lower than tier 3.
You could.
I could.
You could.
But I would put him towards the back end of tier 3 right now.
Okay.
I don't know if he was ever a tier 1 guy. I don't know if I ever would have called him a tier 1 guy. I would have called him a high tier 2 guy when he's in his prime, because they had a terrific defense and he had some weapons to throw to, and they had a great running game. But not anymore. And God, he was god awful in Denver, and you saw Denver really took some strides this year with Bo Nix. So it couldn't have been the system. So he wasn't good there. He wasn't good with Pittsburgh. I thought Pittsburgh made a huge mistake not playing Justin Fields, but then again, we're not the coach. So
yeah. What was the God? I'm trying to think of the no, it's not going to work. I had a joke worked out, but I couldn't remember the guy that killed a bunch of people, like poisoning food, like cooked food, and I know Jim Jones, but that's Kool-Aid. That's not cooking. Because I was going to say the joke was going to be I'd rather let that guy cook than Russ Wilson cook, but it doesn't work because I can't come up with the guy's name. Because I don't want to let Russell Wilson cook. I don't want to let him anywhere near the kitchen.
No.
Like, look, bro, we're getting DoorDash.
I would let his wife near the kitchen. She's
that's fine.
She's very attractive.
Anybody but him, just not him. Like if Russell Wilson said, "You want me to cook tonight?" I'd be like, "No, bro. We're getting DoorDash. We're getting like I got a good Mexican restaurant down the street that'll deliver. We're not letting you cook." He cooked for half a season one time, and he was really good. Remember, he was like mentioned MVP.
Yes,
and he was like great. And then they had a game against the Rams. He didn't play well, and Pete Carroll said, "Now we're gonna start running the ball again. We're gonna run the ball and play defense
because that's what wins his games."
Yeah, we're like we've had enough of like letting Russ cook. We're not letting Russ cook anymore. Russ,
you know what? And I still harken back to the Super Bowl when he threw it right to the guy down on the goal line. I know it was the wrong play call.
Terrible play call.
It was a terrible play call, but he can't make that throw.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's obviously it's bad all the way around. How you don't give it to Marshawn Lynch three times right there?
Bad wagering memory for me.
I don't know what was worse, not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch or throwing 3 straight fades to Michael Crabtree.
3 straight fades.
Yes,
those 3 times
in a row.
But I still contend that if Harbaugh that whole year, if you remember correctly, they had so much trouble getting plays in.
Yes.
They had to call timeout late. They're trying to get plays in. There was a play before they went 3 straight fades where Kaepernick was going to run left for a touchdown, and the play was dead because Harbaugh didn't think they're going to get it off.
So he called timeout.
Timeout. And if you go back and watch that play, Kaepernick's taken off, and I was like, Jesus, he was going to score a touchdown there. But because they didn't get the play in time, Harbaugh was afraid they're going to lose 5 yards, calls a timeout, and they never went back to that play.
Well, you know what?
Never went back to that play.
I don't necessarily blame Harbaugh a lot on that because I know a lot of it was Kaepernick. A young quarterback. You got to, when you're transferring, he's trying to process the play. It's coming through him, and it happens to all rookies. And you're getting a play call, even though it's towards the end of the year, it wasn't a full year starting for him. And you're getting the play and you're trying to process it. Maybe it comes out a little bit slow and you come up to the line of scrimmage. So a lot of it is on the quarterback not getting that play in, because if you think about it, the coach's microphone turns off after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So that play's got to be in. And so he gets the play and then he's got to relay it. So it's not necessarily all on the quarterback. It can be on the coaches, but the fact that they turned the microphone off with X amount of seconds left, that the play had been called, he didn't get out of the huddle quick enough.
Yeah.
And so it's just bad all the way around. You're right.
Yeah, it was bad all the way around. All right, so you got Wilson
tier 3,
bottom
of tier 3.
I got him upper tier 4. Just not there with Russell Wilson, and there was a video clip of Russell Wilson when he was with Denver. He was on the sideline, defense was on the field, and he wanted the team to yell run or pass, like run, pass, run. I'm like, what are you, fucking Little League? These are like grown men with families. They're gonna like be on the sidelines yelling run or pass. Like,
I don't have a problem with that.
Who are you?
I don't have a
on.
problem with that. He's getting involved in the game, and it really, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It is kind of Harry High School type stuff.
Exactly,
But-
Harry High School.
But he's trying to get the team involved. Maybe you don't know, on the sidelines, you got a lot of guys that are down and quiet, not really trying to motivate guys, and that's what a quarterback's supposed to do. Maybe not in that manner. That's the manner he did it, but to get guys involved on the sideline when things aren't going well, to keep the team in it, man, that body language just it exudes to the rest of the team. And if you don't, I mean, you got to try something. And so I don't have a problem with that at any level.
Lame. Fucking lame. Okay. So he crossed off. I'm on a string here of fours. Richardson, Wilson. Okay, we get rid of Kyler Murray. Jalen Daniels.
See, I'm going to disagree with you on this because I think he's a tier 2 guy. I think he's a mid-tier 2 guy. I
wouldn't put him there because he's only been in a year.
And I see your reasoning on that. I'm looking at his athletic ability, his decision making, his poise, his confidence, his arm is terrific. His feet are terrific. Yeah. I think he is a mid-tier 2 guy, which if he keeps progressing, you never know because teams catch up to what you do, and they find ways to defend you. So that could happen, that's for sure. But if he keeps progressing, I could see a Mahomes type guy. He doesn't do some of the crazy things Mahomes does, but he's a little bit more fundamentally sound as far as, hey, if I was going to teach a quarterback, he'd be a guy I'd look at. He's got good feet. He's always throwing under control, makes good decisions, doesn't get rattled. And you don't see many rookies not get rattled because Washington came out of nowhere this year. I mean, they were okay last year, just okay.
Yeah.
And he brought them to the next level. And really, they have one receiver, and who I think is one of the top guys. And now they got 2. Yep. But with McLaren, I think McLaren's one of the best in the league.
Really good.
And he'd been kind of stuck in obscurity there in Washington. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he really did.
And I think that. I got a mid-tier 2 right now. I do.
No, I mean, look, I think the marriage between him and offensive coordinator Ryan Gosling is really, really good. I think I agree with you. Like, if I had to say, okay, what do you think of him? Where would you put him? 2 sounds fine to me, but because he's only been a year, I'm going to put him the very, very, very top of 3. But yeah, he's seemingly is going to be really good, but I've seen too many guys in their first year look great then don't, or maybe even struggle a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, that guy's pretty good.
Well, but right now I think we're basing most of what we saw off of last year. We're doing that with Rodgers. We're doing that with, because if we base Rodgers off of his career, he'd be a tier 1 guy. But we can't.
Of course.
So I think we have to base it off of what we saw last year. And I saw a definite tier 2 guy.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, this will be a fun one for you. Jake Haener.
Jake, hey, I think Jake, there's another guy. He's very much like Baker Mayfield.
Jake was Bergie's quarterback.
He was my quarterback, and I think the world of him.
I love Jake, too. Jake's a great guy.
He's a great guy, and you know what? He's just one of those guys that just loves the game and just studies it. And he's going to do whatever he can to be on the field. He knows he doesn't have the physical attributes. He doesn't have the 6'5", frame. He doesn't run the 4.4 thing. He's going to, but I guarantee you that nobody in the NFL will study as hard as him or harder than him. He's going to know exactly what he's supposed to do with it. Does he have some of the tools that other people do? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. But I think he's the type of guy that will find a way to stay in the league for a long time. I look at, there's so many of those guys that have done. Who was the guy? Gosh darn it. He played at Missouri, kind of a little
Drew Lock?
No, smaller guy. Yeah, we're all going. That's right on the tip of my tongue.
Who did he play for?
Chase Daniels.
Oh, Chase Daniels.
Chase Daniels probably played 15 years.
Good call.
As the same type of guy. He knew the offense like the back of his hand.
Yeah.
If you put him in there, he was going to be able to execute what they were doing. He wasn't going to win a lot of games for you, but he wasn't going to lose them. He was going to manage the game. And Jake's that type of guy. I don't know if he'll ever be a starter in the league, but I think he'll be a capable backup and a guy that you can put in, can run the offense. You don't have to pare it down for him. I don't think I could put him in a tier because he hasn't played at all.
I'm going to recuse Bergie from this. I would put him in tier 4 just because he hasn't played. But Jake, you're going to hopefully you'll be a starter this year. That's why I included you in this because I'm hoping that you'll start this year.
He tore his oblique first day of training camp. Well, not training camp, first day of OTAs. So he's rehabbing that, but better to do it now than when you're in training
Obviously,
camp.
you have a tier 5 oblique, Jake. Let's go. Let's get back on the field. No, I'd love to see Jake do great. It'd be awesome. Really cool kid. Really cool family. Okay, this is another easy one. It's just where he goes in tier 1, Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Man, that guy.
He's incredible.
If they had any type of defense where they could get more possessions, I mean, right now there's.
Well, at least they don't have any controversies with their defense.
No.
They're signing everybody. They're getting the draft pick signed.
Yeah.
They're getting Hendrickson signed. Just making sure they take care of their defense. They're going to be the old Chargers.
They are.
Coryell.
Oh,
they scored 35 to win.
I don't know how you stop them. I mean,
I don't know how you stop them either.
He is. I mean, at the end of the year, nobody wanted to play them. Nobody wanted to play them in a playoff. And had they made it, that would have been an awful first round game because of him.
An awful draw for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, with Jamar Chase, arguably the best guy in the league right now, and Higgins, he's a wide receiver 1.
Yep.
He's a 1B, I guess you'd say, or 1A.
Brown ended up being
I know.
running back position.
I know.
I was like, good Lord.
And their system must be terrific because Mixon had a good career there, and they just said, okay, we're not going to pay him. We'll just pay a cheaper guy.
Yep.
And that guy had just as much success.
Yep.
So I'm with you. Burrow is a 1, no question.
Yep.
I can't put him up there with Mahomes because he has a 1 like Mahomes has.
Yep.
But as far as physical tools, I'd put him ahead of Mahomes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
no, I'm with you.
Yeah, he's and that's all. With a blown out knee his first year.
Yep. Now he's accurate. He's got a big arm. Maybe not as big as some, but he's more athletic than you think he is. And he's just a tough SOB. So
and you know what? His choice of clothing, game days.
Woof, he's something. He is something.
He's Joe Namath.
He's
in the Joe Namath of the league now.
Okay, let's go from one Joe to the other. Joe Flacco.
Man, Flacco. I think he'll end up starting the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that's why I put him on here.
I don't know how long he'll stay. You know what? He's going to manage the game terrific. Yeah. He's one of those guys that knows everything about the game, knows where his checkdowns are. He knows where the protection needs to come from. He's not going to make those mistakes. He's going to make the basic throws. Not going to move at all. And he's getting older that way. I can't put him any higher than tier 3. Only because of the fact that he doesn't have those things anymore. I don't know if he ever would have been maybe a bottom of tier. I mean, the bottom of tier 2, maybe even in his prime. But I mean, the guy's got to be close to 40 now.
Yeah, it has to be.
And but I think that's the right play for them to play him. And I think he'll do okay. They're not very good, but I don't expect him to stay with being the starter for long. Because they're going to want to place one of the young guys.
Yeah,
that's my guess. Because especially when they start losing a lot of games, but I don't know. The question mark is, you draft one quarterback, Gabriel, in the second round, was it, or third round?
I want to say it was 3rd or 4th.
It might have been 4th. Either way, and then you draft another one who gets, Sanders gets all the hype.
Yeah,
I feel real bad for Gabriel.
Legendary.
I feel real bad for Gabriel because. People are going to be, the public will be screaming, you got to give Sanders a shot, When Gabriel, they had rated higher, obviously.
Yep.
And hopefully they both get an opportunity and see who does better.
Well, it was clear. It seemed pretty clear that was a Jimmy Haslam draft, Shedeur Sanders.
Yes.
Because they showed Barry and Stefanski in the draft room, the war room, when they drafted him. And it was like... the golf clap.
Good PR.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, we're good. Well, nobody drafts 2 young quarterbacks in back-to-back rounds.
No
coach would do that. No one would invite that into their camp. No one would want to answer those type of questions. No one would want to have to find reps for a guy. You're trying to find reps for the first young guy you drafted. Now you got to find reps for this young guy that you drafted. And it certainly doesn't help as a 5th round draft pick you're fucking around going out there and driving 101 miles an hour
No,
and getting arrested. Like, if you're a 5th round draft pick, you probably better do things by the book, like all the time.
Yeah.
Until you've entrenched yourself, and then you can be a star athlete and go fuck around and drive 100 miles an hour. Not that you should, but you probably will. But you're already starting with that, and now you got to answer questions. Like, I guarantee Stefanski, when he got that call, he's like, "You got to be kidding me."
Well, you know, I understand where the GM and the owner are coming from, because what's the relevance right now of Cleveland? And a pick like this at least gives them a little bit of, a little bit of media attention. And whether it's negative or positive,
it worked with Deshaun Watson, didn't it? That worked fantastic.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get some media attention, because they're not going to win. So if they're not going to win, you got to find a way to keep the public entertained and keep the public into it. And that's what you can see. That's the only reason they did it.
Yeah, they went
so
out.
Flacco, get back to Flacco. I'd say it definitely a tier 3 guy.
Yeah, I'd go bottom tier 3, top tier 4.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, or as I like to call him, Captain Lube, really worked out well for him. He got the most guaranteed money in the history of the sport, and he sucked. And he was just garbage. And he didn't want to be there. He said he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be in Cleveland. And Cleveland goes, "Oh, yeah, you don't want to be here? How about we guarantee everything?" And he said, "I'm starting to warm to the idea of being in Cleveland. I think I might want to go to Cleveland."
It might be a good decision by him. When you tear your Achilles and you have his skill set's gone down the drain. I mean, you're not going to come back from that torn Achilles and keep your feet moving. He had terrific feet. That was the only thing he had going for him.
Just think the chances of rehabbing that Achilles.
I know.
You're not finding someone to fucking massage it. That's out of the question.
Oh, he might.
You're not doing that. He'll be like, "Hey, that's not my Achilles. Hey, what are you doing? Put my towel back." All right, Gino.
There's a guy that resurrected his career. God, he was just, he went through all the injuries. He'd been to a lot of teams, didn't do much. I thought Seattle, he did a really nice job. I thought they overpaid for him, but they didn't have anything else. So, and I think he did a good job for what they wanted him to do. Now the Raiders have him, then I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, I think Pete Carroll does a terrific job of keeping it pretty simple for his offense. He's always done that. And I think he'll go back to that same theory of what he had in Seattle. We're going to run the football, play great defense. And give it to Gentry a lot, and then keep it simple in the passing game, kind of like he did with Russell Wilson, same type of stuff. And Geno Smith's a smart quarterback. He makes good decisions. He's not the athlete he was, but he still moves around okay. I think he's a tier 3 guy, but high tier 3 guy. And I think you can compete with him. You're not going to get to the promised land with him, that's for sure. But you can compete with him, and you can stay in a lot of games that maybe you shouldn't.
No, I agree. I got him as a tier 3 guy. I got him middle, maybe upper half. And I would say this: my brother doesn't chew gum. He lives in Vegas, and I told him to tell all his friends, if you live in Vegas and you chew gum, you better buy some now, because once the season gets started, you're going to be out of gum in Vegas. Because Carroll goes through some gum,
and it's a wad.
Through some gum.
It's like a bunch of bubble yum, or Bubblicious, the old school. He's chomping on it.
That's right.
And then he chews it for about 3 minutes, throws it out, and puts another one in.
God, that guy goes through some gum. Okay, another one that's a second-year guy that we don't have much information on. Drake May.
Yeah, he only started about half the year. He did some great things, and
I think he did too.
I think he's with. I think Vrabel's a terrific coach. I can't believe Tennessee got rid of him. That was just, that was a fire sale with them. Yeah. And I think he's gonna, he knows the way that the Patriots want to play, how they play. They're going to play hard nosed just like him. They're going to play good defense. That's just the way his teams are. They're going to run the football really well, and I think Drake May has got a lot of potential. I mean, skill set wise, he's got a lot.
Yep.
He runs really well for a guy who's big, got a good arm, makes good decisions. They don't have much around him offensively. In fact, I mean, their talent level is down, and so that's got to drop him a little bit. But his ability, I got to put him in tier 3 right now.
Yeah, that's what I put him.
He could move up real quick. I mean, he's the kind of guy that can move up quick because he really progressed every start he got better and better, which is a sign of a guy that's going to be pretty good.
I know. I'm with you. Tier 3. Sam Darnold.
I like Sam Darnold.
Okay.
I like Sam Darnold when he was with
crazy.
the Niners.
Don't get crazy.
I'm not getting crazy, but
crazy.
I thought the Niners missed the boat a little bit by not playing him a little bit more.
Okay.
When he was here, I thought he was good. When he was with Carolina, God, their team was just god awful. And then with the Jets, I mean, he had some bad teams. He had no coaching. And then he came to the Niners, sat back and watched a lot, improved his game, understands the offense, went to Minnesota, where I think that guy's a terrific quarterback coach. And their head coach is really good. He's just terrific with quarterbacks. He put him in a situation where he could make plays. He had good guys around him, but I mean, he understood where everybody was going to be. He made some dumb throws.
Yeah.
But there was a period of time there.
Everybody does.
Everybody's going to make poor throws. 10 or 12 games in a row, he was dynamite.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any awful games, but
yeah.
I think he's a guy that he's never going to be a tier 1 guy, but I would put him in a tier 2. I really would. I'd put him in bottom of tier 2, above the guys that we talked about before, but below
Mayfield and Murray. Well, you got Murray in tier 4. I got him in tier 3. Geno.
Yes.
Rodgers.
Yes.
Fields.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd put him
and behind Dak. Hurts,
yes.
Herbert. And Tua.
Yes.
Okay.
But
But you have Rodgers ahead of him because you had Rodgers. Did you have Rodgers top of tier 2 or
bottom of tier 2?
Okay.
But I think he's going to be. I think he'll do okay. The coaching is going to, really determine what happens with him. I think he needs to be. Guys need to be on him all the time. I think he needs to be coached hard.
Yep.
And I think when he got that, he really thrived.
I'm kind of with you. Now I put him at the top of tier 3. I can't get to tier 2. The lasting image of him in the playoffs last year against the Rams, where he was just atrocious, and it was one good year. And the other years before that obviously weren't good, but I can't hold it too much against him. It was the Jets and the Panthers, and those they were dysfunction.
They're awful.
So last year he has O'Connell. You get Addison, you get Jefferson, you get some good playmakers, and to your point, he was really good last year. Like really good. But only 1 year, and the playoff game gives me pause a little bit. I think he could end up being tier 2 for me, like one of those guys. But I have him at the top of tier 3.
Well, I mean, if I look at the playoffs, look at the Super Bowl. I mean, Mahomes didn't have a very good Super Bowl at all.
Well, that whole team got mauled.
I know.
But you're right. He didn't have a great Super Bowl.
So I don't. The playoff thing.
But winning Super Bowls and winning big games.
Yeah.
He already has that in his back pocket. So Darnold doesn't.
But I'm basing it off of last year because I'm not going to look at all with the Jets, what he did with the Jets and what he did with the Panthers. I have to look at what I saw him the little bit with the Niners, how he progressed, and then what he did last year.
Okay.
And that's what I'm going off of.
Okay, now we're getting to the interesting part of the schedule here. We're just gonna skip Tennessee because we've never seen Ward.
No, I'm not a Ward guy. I will tell you that.
Okay.
I am not a Ward guy. I didn't think there was any. I don't understand. I didn't think there was a first round quarterback this year.
There might not have been,
and that's a big stretch for that.
You know how people reach for quarterbacks.
Oh, I know. I mean, and he was the best of what was out there for sure. But I don't think he was a first round guy.
Yeah, and I can't. I'd have to create a whole new fucking tier for Will Levis, a fucking guy. He cost me money last year, that bastard. And I was like, God damn, just don't throw a pick. Just don't do something incredibly stupid.
No, he was going to do it, though.
And then he did it, and he did something incredibly stupid. Okay, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 10. Let's get these two out of the way first, because then after that, it'll be interesting. JJ McCarthy, I got nothing.
Okay,
nothing for
Absolutely
JJ McCarthy.
Nothing.
Let's just put question mark. Okay, Caleb Williams.
Boy.
Now he gets Ben Johnson.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at what he did with Jared Goff and how he got him to get the most out of his ability. Because Goff always had the ability to do that, and he wasn't able to harness it as well. And with the Rams, but boy, he got a lot out of him. I think he'll do the same here. They've really done a nice job of getting him weapons. Their offensive line last year was still kind of a sieve. He holds the ball way too long.
Yeah,
there's no question he holds the ball too long. I'm thinking that's where Johnson's really going to be a big help, because he got Goff to get the ball out of his hand, because Goff held onto the ball a lot with the Rams too, and he got rid of the ball much quicker last year. So I'm thinking he'll do that and he'll help that. If he improves on that, he's got a lot of ability. I mean, he and Daniels, I think, are very similar type players, but Daniels right now is miles ahead of him as far as getting rid of the ball and just, being a little bit more savvy. I think Caleb Williams, athletically, he can throw the ball with anybody. Okay. He runs well. He can throw from the pocket and get out, but he can't hold the football. And that's been his biggest downfall. He takes too many sacks, and he's a little late getting rid of the ball. Young guy. I mean, I'm not going to put him up past tier 3.
No.
But he's got the ability he could move up quick, just like Daniels is going to have moved up.
Yeah.
I think he'll keep moving up.
No, I agree with you. He's got to get out of the Pop Warner quarterback mode where I got to do everything.
Yes.
I got to hold on to the ball. I got to make sure guys are open. I know I can make this throw. It's like, let the offense work.
Yeah.
Let the offense work and let it do it. And I think Ben Johnson will definitely help.
He's playing like he's at USC, where he can run around and guys couldn't tackle him. It's the NFL. Those guys are going to get you. You're not going to outrun them. You're not going to outmaneuver them, unless you're Barry Sanders. So once he gets over that, I think he'll be fine. If he doesn't get over it, he'll be out of the league.
A little trivia for you before we get not really trivia, just something I noticed. Out of the top 32 quarterbacks, whatever it is, starting quarterbacks, at least presumably starting quarterbacks, what letter to start the first name appears most often among starting quarterbacks?
To start the first name?
Yep, to start the first name. What letter?
J?
Correct.
What?
Correct.
How's that? Hey, come on, give me some. I was doing my best Rain Man there, trying to calculate everything. That is why I'm an educator.
That's very good. That's why you're an educator. That's very, very good. Jared Goff. Where do you got him?
Tier 2.
Me too.
And I was happy for him. Local guy he's been terrific. These last couple of years. I think he'll continue to be terrific. Their system's good. I don't know. I don't even who they bring in to replace Johnson.
I don't know.
Did they hire from within?
Losing Johnson, that's a big deal. But I don't know.
I'm sure they did, because you want to keep that same system because it was so effective. And guys know it. I think Goff is very solid. He's got a good team around him, and he's a solid tier 2 guy. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Like, look, everything's set for him. He's got the receiver. He's got the number 1 receiver. He's probably got the best tandem running back in the country. Room in the country.
They're terrific.
They're fantastic. They may have the best offensive line in football. So he doesn't have to move a whole lot.
Nope.
And if he can get back and plant his foot and throw, he's as good as there is. He's really good. If he has to move a little bit, then things start dipping a little bit, because he's not a guy that's going to beat you by sliding and moving, and it's certainly not running. But no, I'm with you. I got him tier 2.
I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best receivers in the league, and he doesn't
stud.
Get a lot of pub because he's not real flashy.
Yep.
He doesn't run by a lot of guys, but man, he's open more than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And they know they're going to throw the ball to him. Cooper Kupp-esque a couple of years ago. Same type of thing.
Where every time it's like, God dang.
They're going to throw it to him, but they can't cover him.
Yep.
And
Laporta didn't even do much last year.
Didn't have to. And then who's the kid from Alabama that got in trouble? The other receiver, Williams. I mean, that guy's special, and he's going to get nothing but better.
Yep.
And so the weapons are there. And Hawkinson, was it Hawkinson?
No, Hawkinson
got traded.
Hawkinson went to Minnesota.
Yeah,
they got Laporta. That's their tight end.
Yes,
he wasn't even great last year.
No, well, he was hurt.
He's really good. He's hurt a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Love.
Man, I got him a solid tier 2 guy.
Okay.
I think he's another guy that's gotten better. You look at the guy. He and Rodgers both benefited from sitting. Very few quarterbacks have been, top draft picks have been able to sit and watch and get better and learn from a guy. And I think he really did. Just because you see the speed of the game, you see it in practice, you're able to go through it, and then you're not forced in there. And just for him to be able to see all those reps, to see all that stuff happening, I think it really improved his game much quicker than a lot of the other guys that don't have the ability to do that. So I got him solid tier 2, and I like their system. They get it out of his hands real quick. They have some pretty good targets. Not great, but they did more to improve his targets than they did when Rodgers was there.
Yeah.
And the running game, Jacobs is dynamite.
Yeah, that was huge.
And that picking that guy up, that opens up your passing game that much more. I got him solid tier 2.
Yeah, I got him solid tier 2. I thought he was going to be a little better this year. I thought he had his moments, but he wasn't as consistent as I thought he'd be this year. I do like look, they have 4 receivers that are solid. They got a couple tight ends. Yeah. Jacobs is a stud. And again, I'm still not quite sure what Love's going to end up being. I do. That being said, I do have him as a 2, but I thought he'd make a little more of a step. The year before that, they went into Dallas and slaughtered him in the playoffs, and then had a great chance to beat the Niners here.
He did.
And he didn't have a great game, but he toward the end didn't quite. Anyway,
well, they got to play Detroit twice. They got to play Minnesota twice.
The Bears are going to be better.
The Bears are going to be better. I mean, that's a tough schedule, right? That's a tough league to come, or a division to come out of.
But I agree with you. LaFleur is a good coach.
He's a good coach, great offensive coach, and Rodgers kind of.
What do you think about
tough
that?
Guy to coach, but
LaFleur, loser.
Guy LaFleur?
No, not Guy LaFleur. CJ Stroud.
Man,
he took a little bit of a step back last year.
He had a sophomore slump. His first year was good, and they got him some weapons. All those weapons got hurt.
They did.
Tank Dell gets hurt, and then what's his name from the Bills?
What's my man out of Michigan?
That guy. Oh man, he's good too.
What's the receiver out of Michigan that plays for the Texans that got hurt last year? It was like
he's their best guy. I had him in fantasy.
Yeah, Nico Collins. Yeah, he got hurt.
He got hurt, and Stephon Diggs got hurt.
Yeah,
so he lost a lot of weapons there. They added Mixon, which was a good add for them, but they didn't have many weapons. I still think he's got the ability, and I would put him high tier 3 to low, to the bottom of tier 2. High tier 3 though, because I think you can win with him. He's good, and let's see if he learns. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a bad sophomore year, his second year too.
Yep,
he didn't have a good one, so we'll see what happens with him this year. But I think he's got the capabilities of being a bottom tier 2, high tier 3 guy.
Okay, yeah, I got him bottom tier 2.
Yeah.
This is a tricky one because this is a guy that's not going to be around much longer, but we'll base it on this year. Matt Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford's a Hall of Famer.
Yes, he is.
I mean, Stafford was in obscurity up there with some bad Detroit teams, and he was just putting up numbers and numbers and numbers. And then he goes to the Rams, and they win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
And I think he's really good. I mean, he's a definite tier 2 guy, in my opinion.
Yes.
And, when he was in his prime a couple of years ago, I might have put him towards the bottom of tier 1.
I would have.
Right now, tier 2 for sure, towards the top still, because guy can make every throw.
Yeah.
He makes every throw. He makes great decisions. Doesn't move his feet. Never has.
Yeah.
But he gets rid of the ball so quick. He doesn't take many sacks. He's a solid guy you can win with every year.
I got him at the very top of tier 2.
Yeah.
I could have him at tier 1.
Yes.
There's no way.
Very close.
There's no way. Just for
2 years ago, yes.
Just for
sure.
next year. Just for next year. Because this is where you and I differ a little bit. There's no way I put Herbert above Stafford. I would.
No. I'm not.
But you have Herbert tier 1. And Stafford tier 2.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Right
No,
here.
you're right. I do. And I part of it is age wise too. Herbert's a younger guy who I think that has more upside. There's that word again.
Upside. You
to
hate
do that.
The word.
I hate the word. I'm using it because
why do you keep using it?
I don't know. I won't use it ever.
Okay,
again.
don't use it ever. Okay, ever again. Okay, so I have Stafford top of tier 2.
I do too.
You got him top of tier 2. Okay. And by the way, in case you guys, whoever's hanging in there, you haven't figured this out, Brock Purdy's going to be last. I did that on purpose, okay? Because you got nothing better to do than drink beer and listen to this. But you'll get Purdy, because I know you guys are sitting there going, "These sons of bitches, you ever going to get to Brock Purdy?" It's like that ESPN thing. They're like, coming up, the NBA Finals, and then it's like 3 commercials. You're like, are you going to get to the commercials? Are we getting to the highlights or what? What are we doing?
Or the cliffhanger of one of our shows that just says, "Find out next week."
Find out next week. Find out about Brock Purdy soon. Okay, these are going to be easy. Maybe we'll rank them just to see where they are. Because, I mean, The next two, I'm gonna.
All right.
We'll do them separately, but they're both obvious tier ones.
Yeah.
Let's go Lamar Jackson first. I mean,
I mean, to me, it's. I have him probably. Jesus, probably. I'd probably put him 2.
Out of Allen.
That's 2A, 2B.
Because he'll be next.
No,
Okay.
they're 2A, 2B.
Okay.
That's what it's. The three
Okay.
to me, it's 4 quarterbacks that separate themselves.
Correct.
Mahomes we've talked about. Lamar now we're talking about. Joe Burrow we talked about. And then when we talk about Allen, obviously those 4, I'd put Burrow 4th of those.
Okay.
And I would put Mahomes first.
Yep.
The other 2 interchangeable.
Okay.
The 2 totally different. Well, not totally different skill sets. They go about it in different ways, but they're both the same type of weapon.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
I mean, Lamar Jackson, he's a freak.
Because now he's a thrower too.
I know, and he can throw well. He's
bigger than you think he is.
Oh, he's big. He's a big
I've
guy.
never seen him take a big shot.
No, you can't get a hit on him.
You can't get a hit on that guy.
He's like Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders, you never saw anybody get a good hit on him. And nope, I mean, the guy he avoids it. He runs around it. And the guy can do everything. I didn't think he'd be this good coming out. I really didn't. And he wasn't for a while.
Yep.
And he's every year.
They got Todd Monken in there, and that changed things around.
And
it's
he's gotten better and better and better. And he improved himself. It's obviously did a lot of work on his throwing game.
Yep.
He does not do anything on his running game. That's just his natural ability to run. And they call design runs for him a lot.
Yeah.
And that's if they don't have him,
Max is leaving us. He has somewhere to be tonight. Max and Daniel help us off screen. So thank you, Max.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, brother. Have a great weekend. All right, beat it. Sorry, you're not going to be here for Purdy.
I know. I'll be watching.
He had to leave. Sorry.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, first ballot Hall of Fame guy.
Well, that's what I was wondering, right? When he first came in, I was like, okay, can this guy throw?
Yeah.
Can he throw?
And
they did it. I don't think they ever really asked him to. They never challenged him.
Not much. He threw the deep ball.
Yeah, and then finally they started like challenging him. And when Monken came in, they're like, okay, we got to like ask more of him. Yeah. And he answered the call, and he's like, now it's like, Jesus, how do you stop this guy?
You don't.
And then you have Derrick Henry too.
That offense is so hard to defend.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
That's why 2A, 2B. I mean, the 2 of them.
Yeah, because Allen's not as fast or as shifty. He's just a tank.
Oh, he's a tank.
An absolute tank. He's like in the pocket. He's like Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
You can't get him down. No. And then when he breaks the pocket, he's still fast. He can make plays, but he may have. I mean, I don't know how they rank this or how they do rank it, but Allen may have the strongest arm in the NFL. I mean, this guy's got an absolute howitzer back there. I agree with you. It's like whatever one you want, I'll take the other one.
Exactly.
And we're fine.
Yeah.
Because Allen has learned, like, he's a quarterback now. And who would have ever thought out of Wyoming where he had, 54% he hit? He wasn't even great at Wyoming. You could see it was kind of there, but it wasn't like, okay, this isn't a no-brainer when you move up to draft him. God, what a stud that guy is.
Okay, if you had to pick right now one of those, the top 3 to be on your team, who would you take? I know we both have said Mahomes is number 1, but I don't know if he'd be my top choice.
God.
That is tough.
I mean, I think I still got to go Mahomes because I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had the 3rd pick, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah,
okay with you. Whoever's left over.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I just look at what Lamar brings to the table. I mean, he can make something out of nothing with his feet, and now with his arm. I mean, Mahomes. He's incredible, but I do think that Andy Reid is a step above everybody right now as far as his offensive calls, and he and Andy Reid are really on the same page. Really on the same page. Yeah. You know, they could read each other like a book, and so. You know, that adds to it. And Mahomes has got the flashy underhand stuff. He does some stuff like that really kind of they pop. And his teams have been great. Yeah. And they've won because of him too. So I don't know. I wouldn't care. I'd be happy as a clan to have any of them.
All like they're all tier 1 guys. They're all guys you could win with. And see, that's why I wouldn't put Herbert in tier 1, just because to me he's not on the same level as Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, Allen. Like, he's a step below those guys. Physically, you could put him there, but he hasn't proved it on the field yet.
I agree with you on that. I have those 4 solid, the top 4.
Yeah.
There's no question. And
Those are
and
top
then you throw in the Herberts and the Staffords, you know, and the Jalen Hurts,
Okay.
you know, those guys that are battling it out, you know, that are could be ones, could be twos.
Yeah.
And I think Hurts has got a better team. Hurts brings more to the table as far as running the ball and stuff. But I think Herbert in the right situation, like if you, I see what Goff has done in the right situation. You put Herbert in that situation, I don't think anybody touches.
Probably. I mean, you could be right. Okay, Brock Purdy. We saved Brock for last. Made people wait it out if they wanted to wait it out. Where do you got Purdy?
We talk about Purdy so much, and
of course we do.
I think that, and I also think that the thing about a quarterback is, are they difference makers? We talk about these.
Don't fuck yourself.
We talk about the difference. We talk about the difference makers. We just talked about 4 of them, and I would call Hurts a difference maker, and I would call Stafford a difference maker.
Okay.
I would call Herbert a difference maker.
Okay.
I really would. When I get to Purdy, I don't think he's a difference maker. I think he's a very good quarterback.
Okay.
I do. I think if we're ranking just quarterbacks and not teams, I think I would have him definitely in the bottom of tier 2.
God,
I would have him in the bottom of tier 2.
Disappointed.
Well, I have to look at, is he going to win the game for you? No, he's not. He's not going to win the game for you. He's going to manage the game and keep you in the game.
Guys are going to win the game.
No, I disagree. There's more than that. I named 6 guys.
Well, that doesn't mean you're right.
No, doesn't mean that. In my opinion,
Herbert can't even win a game with his fucking team.
In my opinion, those guys are difference makers.
Okay.
That if and I think the Niners over the past couple of years have had superior talent, and they should have won the Super Bowl, and they almost did. That's for sure.
And they lost to the best quarterback.
But I also think that they were far superior team-wise, and if they had a little bit more of a difference maker quarterback, and the same could be said all the way back to Kaepernick. He wasn't a difference maker, and if they had a difference maker quarterback, they would have run the table on that, and they would have won the Super Bowl. But they didn't. And Purdy, I like Purdy. I love his decision making. Gets rid of the ball. He's not afraid to make any of those throws. I just don't think he's the kind of guy that's gonna take you over the top. And and we talk about the signing of $50 million, and that's the going rate. I know that's the going rate, but I know if it was me, I would have played hardball. And you have him another year on his rookie contract, let him play it out, and make him prove it again, because I don't think they're going to be as good this year. They don't have the talent. They do play a lesser schedule.
Schedule's weak.
It is weak, but that'll really tell. If they don't really succeed this year, then it's a mistake they sign him for that amount. If they don't succeed, because their schedule.
You go over under 10.5.
Under. I go under.
God, that schedule's shitty.
I know, but you know what? First of all, they have no depth at all. Their offensive line is a sieve, and they didn't do anything to. They got the one guy from Philly that they signed. They didn't do anything to address that, and they weren't very good last year. And Trent Williams is on one leg half the time, and he's past his prime. He's still good, but he took a step back last year as well. I think Purdy is he's a good game manager who can do some good things, but he's not going to take you to the promised land. I just don't. I mean, and isn't that the goal? I mean, to win it all. I mean, the goal is to win it all. I don't think that he can do it by himself.
Oh shit! He was a quarterback of a team that took the Chiefs to overtime.
Oh, exactly.
So I mean, one more play, Niners defense gets a stop on 4th down there, they win, and you're like, Purdy is that guy.
He would they have won? Well, Trent Dilfer, I guess, is that guy too, huh?
Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson.
I mean,
he's that guy.
Those guys, but their teams were superior.
They were superior,
and the Niners teams were superior, in my opinion. Looking at the talent level,
most teams are superior, right? I mean, unless we're talking Mahomes. Allen hasn't won one yet. Jackson hasn't won one yet. I mean, Brady was a guy who's maybe their teams weren't superior most time, like sometimes, and he just elevated them. But I mean, you had the best quarterback, best coach.
Yeah.
So that's almost like a Reed Mahomes comparison. There.
No question.
So I mean, I think you have to have help. It's funny because I had Purdy kind of upper 2, because I have Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, Allen in 1. Then I got Herbert, Hurts, and Stafford. And then after that, I mean, I'll take Purdy ahead of Dak. I'll take Purdy ahead of Tua. I'll take him ahead of Goff. I'll take him ahead of Love. I'll take him ahead of a Stroud. Certainly take him ahead of Rodgers. I think he's a top.
Would you take him ahead of Love?
Yes. But I mean, if you didn't, I could understand that. Like, I get it. I'm just saying, I'm okay. Like, I like him that much. Like, I don't know that Love's a difference maker either. I don't know that Stroud's a difference. Like, they're good enough and they can win for you. But yeah, they need help. I think everybody needs help. I mean, no one got on Manning because he was a number 1 overall draft pick, but no one said, oh, well, look who he has. He has Wayne. He has Harrison. He has Clark. He has Edgerrin James. Nobody ever said that because it's Manning. I mean, but, everybody got on Purdy because it's like, well, look at all the talent he has. You should win. Well, a lot of teams that win have talent. I mean, that's how you win, is you accumulate a whole bunch of talent. So I don't know. Maybe I'm higher on Purdy than some, but
I've tried to convey that I love Purdy. I do. I like him. I think he's a good quarterback, and I think he's a guy. I don't think they have anybody better they could have gotten. That's for sure. So you got to get the best that you can get. I think $50 million is a stretch. I think they should have let him prove it a little bit more. I mean, that's a lot of money that goes towards the cap.
Not that much though anymore.
I know. I mean,
really
that's what's crazy is I just look at it, and I don't know enough about it. I don't know the ins and outs about the cap, but
well, here's the thing that I looked up that I thought was interesting. When like Lamar and Allen and even Kyler Murray, and it was at least 7 or 8 quarterbacks signed. When they signed at the time of signing, I think their contract took up between 21 or 20 and 24% of the cap. When Purdy signed, he took up 19% of the cap. So he was lower than all those guys. And, they were some of the biggest names.
Well, they got the big.
And I thought that made sense. Like, he wasn't in that realm of those guys, like 22, 23. Because to me, it's not about the raw numbers, but it's about the percentage of the cap. What percentage of the cap are you taking up? So the fact that he only took up 19% of the cap, and guess what? The cap's going to continue to go up. So that number is going to continue to go down. Like 3 years from now, Purdy will probably take up 15% or 14% of the cap. So to me, it was a really good deal. I mean, they found someone. And is he worth more to the Niners than he is other teams? Probably.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I mean, if him and Kyle fit together, why wouldn't you want to have a really good coach and a really good quarterback that see eye to eye? Like, I don't know, is Montana better with Walsh than he would have been with somebody else? Maybe.
Yeah.
I still think Montana's a Hall of Famer, so it probably wouldn't have mattered. But even Brent Jones, Brent Jones sees those similarities between him and Montana. And he's not Montana, but there are some similarities. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
and I think he's a leader too. And he's the type of guy I want. He wants to be there. He wants to be a fucking leader. He's going to give you everything he has. Like, I think that counts for something.
I mean, I've been a Niner fan literally since I was a kid.
Yep.
And nobody wants the Niners to win any more than I do.
I watched him beat the Broncos up at your house.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Remember, I almost filled up the sink and vomit.
I do
I
remember
was like, I was digging it out with my hand. It was pretty gross.
that was after a lot of drinks.
Yeah, that was after a lot of
my
drinks.
My dad had to go in there and fix it.
No. Remember, I told him, I go, let me fix it. I dug in there and I reached in there because I didn't want his dad to like have to unclog the sink. It was like full of vomit.
We were young and dumb.
I was young and dumb, so I was in there with my hand like digging it out. I found something that I didn't remember eating. I got to be honest. I was like, what was that?
Well,
I didn't have that on my pizza.
You talk about Joe Montana. I mean, you can't. People always talk about the greatest ever, the GOAT.
Yep.
And Tom Brady. I don't buy that any of those arguments because
you're among the greatest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he was the greatest at his time.
Yes.
And who's to say that Brady, if Brady had to play back then, when the quarterbacks just got the shit beat out of them,
yep.
And they didn't get the protection, they got hit every play. He certainly wouldn't have played as long. There's no way he could have played as long. Montana's career was cut short because of injuries. Steve Young's was cut short because of injuries. They didn't have these protections. Now these guys today.
Steve Young's was cut short because of Lawrence Phillips.
Yeah.
Pick up a fucking blitz, pal. What do you say?
Well, that also would have been a penalty, though.
Yeah.
Those big hits on quarterbacks are penalties now.
Yeah, they are.
And those kind of things, it may not have happened because the guy may have decided to go high or do
Yep.
something different than what he
Yep.
did. And you know, you can't say that Joe Montana isn't as good as Brady. He is.
Yeah.
He was as good at what he did then as Brady was when he did it.
Yeah.
Just like Michael Jordan and LeBron.
No, there's
You know?
no doubt about it.
I never buy those things. You know,
No,
who the
I
greatest of all
agree.
time.
Are you among the best? I guarantee you, Lawrence Phillips has learned to pick up a blitz recently because he's in prison. You got to learn to pick up the blitz in prison.
He may.
You don't learn to pick up the
He
blitz
may
in
have
prison.
passed
Well, he did. He
Yeah.
passed, but he was in prison. But that
when he actually died.
like 5 years ago. Yeah, but I've
Extremely
heard.
sudden.
I mean, look, I've heard. Yes, it's sudden. Was the last 6? No, the very end. Sudden. Yeah, I've heard that's one of the biggest things about being in prison. You got to learn to pick up the blitz. You have to. Hey, can we have a beer?
You gotta have
Ogden,
eyes.
Possibly.
You gotta have eyes in the back of your head too.
you gotta have your head on a swivel. Gotta have your head on a swivel.
Which, while we're talking, I did start Mayor of Kingstown.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a
isn't
good
it?
one. Speaking of
good one.
prisons,
It's a very good one. Jeremy Renner,
yes,
big Niner fan.
big Niner fan.
Big Niner
Has been a
fan.
Niner fan for a
Absolutely.
long
Yeah,
time.
Yeah. No, I
Not a good snowmobile driver.
I like Jeremy Renner. Yeah. Ooh, that was like a snow plow. What do you want? You want the
Oh,
Berg?
birds of a feather, please.
Okay.
Gotta have that one. Thank
You
you.
got to have birds of a feather. That's your beer.
That is my.
That absolutely your beer. So before we get to the end of the show, which is just stupid stuff, and I'm going to make you talk about it since you sent it to me. And we're not going to get into graphic detail on it because it's like I'm just not going to do it. But the names are pretty funny, and since I've used the terminology Cleveland Steamer many times on the radio over the years, my good friend here sent me a list. And again, I'm not getting into the definition of this.
I did not make this list. This list is for public knowledge on the internet. That was given to me by one of my coworkers.
We'll have our tiers, tier 1, 2, 3. We're not going to go through all the tiers, but we'll try to find the top 5 names, top sex acts by each state. Just to give you an idea, you know the Cleveland Steamer.
Part of Urban Dictionary.
That's Ohio, Urban Dictionary. Washington has the Seattle Snorkeler. Again, I'm not going to tell you what they are.
You can look these up.
Look them up. Look them up if you want to. I
would suggest you do their good laugh.
Or
it's a
don't.
good laugh.
The Oregon mud puddle. Oh God,
Are you?
Are you? The Oregon mud puddle. Oh, good God. Like I'll be honest with you. I read like some of these, and I'm going to stop reading. I just don't. Like the names are actually funnier than
the Tallahassee
definition.
Night Train.
Yep, the Wyoming Prairie Dog. So we'll get into that as we'll try to get down to the top 5 names as far as sex acts by state. And again, whoever sat around and made this stuff up, because half this stuff hasn't been done. I contend there's no way it's been done. A couple of these, yes.
There's no way a Manhattan flapjack
I can
has
see
ever.
Yeah, I can
happened.
see a couple of them, like people trying them. Some of those, it's like, get out of here. There's no way that's ever been done. Like, there's no way. A guy wouldn't do it. A girl wouldn't let a guy do it. It wouldn't happen. But I do want to ask you about this. I don't know if you saw the University of Wisconsin is suing the University of Miami because they signed one of their players, Xavier Lucas, a cornerback that played for Wisconsin, signed it's an NIL type deal, but the school was going to pay him.
Okay.
And they can't pay him until July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And so when was it? It was after the transfer window or portal closed.
Okay.
He ends up enrolling at Miami. So he dropped out of Wisconsin, enrolled at Miami, and then signed there.
Okay.
And he went down to Miami apparently January, February, whatever, for a few weeks to visit his family during break. And
so he's from Florida, but played in Wisconsin.
Florida, played for Wisconsin. Wisconsin recruited him, and then Wisconsin signed him to a 2-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a 2-year contract, and he ends up breaking the contract to go to Miami. Now, apparently what had happened is he was down there. Miami was recruiting him while he was under contract with Wisconsin, and it was outside the transfer portal window. He said he wanted to go closer to home because his dad was sick. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe he just – now, it makes me believe it wasn't true, even though I don't know that it was or wasn't. but that Miami offered him more money than Wisconsin.
No question.
So he's like, oh, I can
Yeah.
get more money and stay close to home. And they're like, okay, yeah, all you got to do is do this.
Yeah.
So the portal's closed. He's not, and he was mad because Wisconsin didn't put his name in the transfer portal. And they're like, well, we just signed a 2-year contract. We didn't let you out of the contract.
Yeah.
We just signed you to this contract. So now Wisconsin's suing Miami for tortious interference. Basically what that means, and like I had to look it up, is you're interfering with somebody while they're under contract, trying to
poaching your
loom over
guys,
to you.
yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know if this will be the last time this happens, but it's crazy that this is what this has turned into. Like something that seemed good from the beginning is turned, basically it's just fucked up.
Yeah.
It's guys are jumping from wherever to wherever, get the most money they can. They didn't want it to be pay for play. That's exactly what it is pay for play. When you're paying guys coming out of high school, the definition is pay for play.
Yeah.
They haven't even played yet.
No.
Of course you're
Not
paying them
down.
to play. So, I mean, where do you see all this going? Because you were a big time recruit out of high school, and you've had a lot of your guys get recruited by big time programs. Kyle Wright went to Miami. Jake went to Fresno and Washington. I mean, McAllister went to USC. You had guys, Zach went to Stanford. I mean, you had guys go all over, get recruited by all types of coaches. So you've seen it all. Where is this going? And you mentioned to me too something. I'll let you dovetail. That this is screwing up the whole system because guys want to stay longer now. So guys that are coming in don't have a spot at D1, so they have to go to a smaller school or D2 and try to transfer in and wait for these guys to leave.
I you know what I see happening down the road? I see schools, bigger schools. Let's take Cal. Cal's not really a big. Let's take Cal just because they're a local school. I can see Cal utilizing the Sac States and the UC Davises and the Cal Polys as a stepping stone to get to Cal. In other words, they have a guy in high school they like. They don't want to offer him because they want to get guys from the portal right now that are already established, funneling them to these schools, with the idea of
like feeder schools,
hey, let's groom them. Let's see if they're good enough. And then let's get them back, down the road. It's like those schools are going to become like junior colleges. Junior colleges have always been in the past where, hey, I'm going to go prove myself at JC and get recruited by a bigger school and then go to there. I can see smaller schools now doing that, and they're going to get some good players, guys that, there's very few scholarships that are out there for high school. Unless you're a blue chip guy, you're not getting big time scholarships anymore because, Cal, for example, Cal just lost, I think they lost 25 guys. 25 current guys off their, but then they're going to pick up 25 guys off of other teams, from other schools that are going to come, but they're not going to recruit many high school guys because they need to get immediate help. And so that's going to keep those high school guys from getting big time scholarships. So you're going to see the Sac States of the world and the Cal Polys and the Davises get better players. They're not going to keep those players. They're going to, those kids are going to go down there. And if they are that good, they're going to excel, stay 1 year, maybe 2, maybe at tops, and then move on to wherever the biggest, money is, or, if they had some sort of deal in place with the other schools where they can go back and forth. I can see that happening, having feeder schools, like guys getting placed at different schools with the idea of we're going to get you, when you're good enough. And that's where I see it going. I hate it. I think it's terrible for the game. It's, I don't know how you as a coach, I mean, I thought junior colleges had the toughest job of coaching because it's hard to build a program when you have a guy for 2 years at the most. It's hard to get a system, guys in there. Now, how do you build a team if you're Justin Wilcox and you're losing 20 starters and you got to replace it and you got to teach them? And the same thing's happening all over the country. I mean, even Georgia's losing guys and Alabama's losing guys, and they just stockpile though, because those guys will still get the high school recruits, the top end. But if those top end high school recruits don't play, they're going to bolt. So you're forced to play them earlier than what you'd like. And if you don't play them, they're just going to bolt, and you're basically prepping them for another team. So I don't know. I think one thing that's really been the talk that I hear from all the coaches is nobody wants to do spring football anymore, because spring football is a free evaluation for everybody because there is a portal right when spring football is over. So people are just watching, seeing who's doing well. And one of our former tight ends, Jack Endries, great tight end for Cal. And I mean, had a great career. He wasn't going to leave, but all these other people left, so he bolted and went to Texas. And so he's in Texas now.
Is he really?
And he didn't want to leave, but you know, he saw, boy, we're not going to be very good. I don't know who's coming in. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I don't know who the linemen are going to be. I'm going to go to Texas because they want me there, and I know we're going to compete and we're going to win. I don't have to worry about that stuff. And so I don't, unless they put a change on it, they've got to two things, in my opinion, with the NIL. It's got to be a firm contract.
Yep.
If you don't fulfill your contract, you're giving the whole thing back. You're giving it all. I mean, if you don't fulfill that contract, you're going to give that all back. If you fulfill the contract, whatever, then you're free to go. But you should only be allowed one transfer, in my opinion. You should get one free transfer. That's fine. And the only other time you should get a transfer other than that is if your coach leaves.
Coach leaves,
because if your coach leaves, you're out. It's out of your control. You're going to bring in a new offense or defense. Maybe it doesn't fit you, and you should be able to leave. But this going from school to school to school, some guys are playing at 4 schools in 4 years.
Yep.
And it just chasing the money. And
that's
it's mass exodus as far as coaches go too. They all want out. They want to go to the NFL. They want to get out to. They have to deal with that stuff because it's not college sports anymore. And
no,
you know, for people to say, "Oh, you know, cut him a break. He's just a kid." Well, he's not a kid anymore. He's a professional athlete, and they're paying him money to do this. And if he's not doing it, then he should get ripped.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, before I never believed that, but since they're taking the money, I think, you know, there's got to be scrutiny on them, just like there is in the NFL.
No, I absolutely agree. It's gotten to a point, and I've said this for a while now. One free transfer, and after that, it's transfer rules apply. That's it, period. You get a free one, you can go whenever you want. Your coach leaves, then you can go wherever you want. But stop putting your name in the portal to see if you can get more money from a different program. Just be a mercenary for 4 years. It kills. I mean, look, I'm going to continue to watch, so whatever.
Oh, because we like the game. We like watching it.
And this is another thing, too, that I don't know if you saw this. The Kai Ziegler, who was a guard for the Tennessee Volunteers, sued. I don't know if he sued the NCAA for more eligibility. Now, he had 4 years of eligibility. He played for 4 years. He wants to play longer, because of NIL. He stands to make $3-4 million
because he's not going to make. He's not going to.
No,
make it in the
not
NBA,
at all. He's like a 5'8" guard, and it's like, you know, I get it. If I were him, I'd want to play and make money too. But I'm a fan, so I'm like, fucking move on, pal. Give somebody else a chance. That's where, like, it's okay. Where's going to be the room for everyone else coming in to the program? Are we going to have like 28-year-old seniors now? Are we going to have like Wooderson from Dazed and Confused just hanging around the campus? Like I can keep making money, and like, I'll just keep making money, you know, bro. I'm a 27-year-old senior. This is cool. Playing at the Yum Yum Center for Louisville. This is awesome. I love it.
Well, there's a kid at Oregon. There was a tight end in Oregon, I believe, that played 9 seasons.
Yes, 9 seasons.
You know, the COVID thing, the COVID year kind of fouled everything up because the COVID year was a free year for anybody involved in it. Didn't even count.
Yeah, I know.
And so that, and then when guys got hurt, the NC2A used to really scrutinize injuries. They didn't give them any. Okay, we're going to give you a medical red shirt because it didn't. The guys blow their knee out. They didn't get it then. Now they're getting them for everything. And so there's some guys that play in 2 and 3 games, get hurt, and they get that whole year back. And they do that 2 or 3 times. The guy from Oregon did it 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
And
I think he ended up playing for Miami.
He did.
I think he was
27 years old.
Yeah, no, I think he was. I mean, look, when you play BYU and you're the oldest guy in the field, you probably should have retired by then. You probably should have moved on.
Well, you know, that's another thing. BYU has a huge advantage there because
they go on missions.
Yeah, well, but it's supposed to be where, okay, once you start, your clock starts.
Yep.
And you have 5 years to play for. Well, they would start. Their clock would start. They'd go for 2 years. Then they'd leave for 2 years, get bigger and stronger, and married with kids.
Yep.
Who knows? And then come back when they're 26, 27 grown men, and they play for 2 more years.
Yep.
And so they had an advantage over that because of their religion. I don't necessarily believe that should happen.
Yeah.
You know, but
here's what I think. I think there's got to be an age limit for. I'm so and like, okay, we're done with COVID now, okay?
Yeah.
If you missed a year because of COVID, fucking too bad. I feel bad for you, but you were like a freshman back then, or maybe not even that. Maybe we're done with the COVID shit. But it's like, okay, you get your 5 to play 4.
Yes.
That's it. Not 7 to play 6 or 9 to play 8, or hey, I can still make money, so let me hang around campus and play, because you're fucking it up for all the high school kids that are trying to come in and play, because you're like, I mean, if I'm a coach, who am I going to take? A freshman or a
27-year-old
or a 9th year senior who I know can play basketball and get me to a Final Four? Because never underestimate this. Everyone likes a paycheck.
Yes.
And the coaches know that the more games they win, the more they continue to get paychecks, and they can get bonuses by making it to a Final Four. Who's going to help you get to a Final Four? Freshman or your 9th year senior? Your 9th year senior, so you're keeping that kid.
And that's going to get you. You're right. You want to keep your job, you got to win. And so in order to win, I got to play the guys that are getting it. And you know what? If you get hurt, I'm going to forget about you. I don't even remember you. I got to move on to the next guy. And people get upset with that. But, you know, when your livelihood depends on 18, 19-year-old kids, and you have to, you know, and you have to win, you got to be cutthroat like that. And I understand it. It's not great, but that's just business. It is. It's business. It's not a game anymore. It's business.
Nope. Absolutely business. All right, before we get out of here, let's do this. We'll go gold, silver, bronze. We won't do tiers.
Okay.
We'll just do gold, silver, bronze. We're gonna work our way from the East Coast to the West. And these, by the way, are on Urban Dictionary. And Ogden probably has them popped up there. So I'll get them up. And we have these are sex acts.
Are we going off names or what actually happened?
No. We're going off names.
Okay.
I'm not reading what actually happened. I ain't doing that. I know we're on a podcast and I can say whatever the hell I want. I still ain't saying that. You can look it up. I encourage you to do so just for a laugh. But your boy here ain't breaking it down for you and ain't reading the definitions for you, because I gotta say, the names are actually pretty funny, and sometimes the names are better than the definition, because the names you imagine like, what the fuck could that be? You got to be kidding me. And then sometimes you read it and you go, holy shit, I didn't even think it was that bad. It's really bad. It's worse than I thought it was. Okay, let's start with the Maine garden gnome. That's a bronze to me. That's not great.
No, I mean, I don't even, you can't give it a bronze. What's below a bronze?
You don't
tin.
You don't get a medal.
You get a 10.
Okay, you're off the podium.
You get 10.
Okay, you're off the podium. You're off the podium.
Not on the podium.
Okay, Massachusetts Slurpee.
That's a silver.
That's a silver.
That's a definite silver right there. That you know what? I'm judging off of.
You get one of those big.
It makes your mind go,
too?
what in the world could that be?
Like brain freeze. It's one of those big, thick Alaska pipeline. Like, remember those straws you used to get at 7-Eleven that were super
Massachusetts
thick?
Slurpee.
Oh God, that's sick. How about a New Hampshire s'more?
That's a bronze. That's a bronze.
S'more,
It's better than a tin.
I almost want to read that, but I'm not going to. Vermont maple tapper.
That's
Vermont maple tapper.
That's a high silver right there, I gotta say.
Oh, we're doing high silvers now?
Right, well,
high ho silver?
High silver.
Oh my God.
That could be the name.
Vermont maple tapper. See, I don't think this name's great, but the definition, you're going to give it a higher grade than it should get. Manhattan flapjack. Because that doesn't even, it's not a great name.
No, it's not a great name, but it's one of the most elaborate acts I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there's a lot of, you need a lot of apparatus.
A lot of steps.
You need some buildings. You need a gymnasium. And you need a gurney. I know.
And a cigarette. I mean, come on. Get out of here.
The name is fantastic.
That's ridiculous. I'm giving them that's off the podium for me. Manhattan flapjack. Rhode Island hot dog. That just sounds ridiculous. It sounds absolutely ridiculous. I mean, come on.
That's a basic. Basic
hot
name.
dog.
I give that a bronze.
Okay. This is nothing. New Jersey Turnpike Special. That's like whatever.
10.
Yeah, it's 10. Hartford hot sauce.
I get a chuckle out of
You
that.
like that? You like the Hartford hot sauce? No, again, I'm not reading these.
Wait a minute.
I'm just not
Well,
going to
now,
do it.
okay, that's the only one for Connecticut then. Okay.
Okay, yes. We got okay. The Dover dust off.
That's solid.
It's okay.
Bronze.
The Baltimore blowfish. That's what blowfish is indigenous to Baltimore. I must have missed something there. I know crab cakes. They should have gone. They should have had some with crab cakes. Oh my God. Philadelphia sidecar. That one sounds. I almost want to read that one. That one's kind of interesting.
There's probably a couple you could read. You change the words. Change the words.
The Virginia hand jive.
That's a silver right there.
No, it's not as good as the West Virginia hand puppet. That's even better. No, the North Carolina headbutt. Okay, okay. Look, I'm gonna break my own rule. If I can find the North Carolina headbutt, I will try to read it without going way overboard. Because again, like it's a podcast, right? I can do whatever I want. I can read whatever I want to. I don't even feel like doing it. Like I feel bad doing it. Like I feel like, oh, that's too much. Okay, let's see if I can find it here. Okay. The North Carolina, and I'm gonna give it a quick preview here. See, I can't do it. I mean, I can't do it. Oh,
Which one is this one again?
Hopefully, people are reading these and they're laughing just like
Which one
we
is
are.
this one again? I don't even remember.
The hand puppet?
No, what's the next one?
North Carolina headbutt?
I can't. Okay, I'll go. This is so pathetic. Okay, I mean it's not totally graphic. It's just so dumb. Okay, when two men are going to town on a woman's boobs, they get so carried away. They accidentally headbutt each other. It's the stupidest thing. They accidentally headbutt each other. Why is it in North Carolina? Why do they do that in North Carolina? You could do that anywhere. Okay.
Motorboat?
Motorboat and son. That's why I'm not reading it. Because I'd never make it through it. Georgia, the Georgia Scorcher. I'm just gonna read these. We're not gonna damn rank them. Okay, this is a gold. South Carolina wild turkey jerk.
That is a gold.
Not a chance. Tallahassee night train.
Another gold. Right
That's a gold. Alabama hot pocket. That's a Hall of Famer. That's in the Hall of Fame.
That's been used.
Yeah, that's a Hall of Famer. Mississippi meat hook. Tennessee log jammer.
Geez, you don't even have to read that one.
No. Cleveland Steamer's a Hall of Famer too.
Oh,
I've used that
it's
one.
a classic.
Forever. It's a classic. Indiana clown pie. You got to read that one, Ogden. I don't even know. I can't even. I'm not going to read it. I'm not reading it. I felt like I read one that was like very tame, and that's fine by me.
Can't find it on here.
The Indiana clown pie. Peoria handshake. That just sounds bad. It sounds like it's not that graphic, but it sounds bad because it's not graphic.
That one doesn't even sound that bad. It sounds like normal.
Grand Rapids white sauce. Please. Just please.
Oh, that's brutal.
Green Bay butter churner. Awful. Oh, geez. I mean, this one. Iowa atomic corn bomb. No. Minnesota bullfrog.
The first line of that one says, "This action requires one full day of preparation."
Is that the corn bomb? Because you probably got to eat corn.
One full day of preparation,
You probably got to eat. You probably got to eat an ear of corn,
or multiple.
or multiple ears of corn. That is just. It takes a day of preparation. Like, how do you set that up? You're like, actually, people are. There's no way.
Every meal consists of eating nothing but corn.
Yeah, there's no way you're doing this with someone you're like seeing. This is like someone. This better be a.
Hey, there's
hookup.
some. Hey, there's some
Maybe
different
you're
people
probably
out
right. You're probably right. Louisiana bull ride, Arkansas knuckleball, the Missouri compromise. That might be interesting. Oh no, the Topeka destroyer. Oh, this one I did read this one. This is one of the reasons I'm not reading it. The Oklahoma pink sock. I'm just gonna save you the trouble. Don't just don't do it, and don't do this one either. Texas chili bowl. Just leave that one alone. Omaha ham bone. This one's South Dakota soggy taco. That's pretty much. North Dakota hot air balloon. The Montana monorail. Is there a monorail in Montana? I mean, where they come out with? Wyoming prairie dog. Mormon first base. That one was actually pretty funny because I think it was just kissing somebody, and that was the act. This one is just stupid. I did read this one too, and I wouldn't recommend it. And this is one that I read, and I go, nobody does this. Nobody would do this. The Denver dripping donkey doorknob. I was like, who does that? Nobody's doing that. Mexico window washer. Phoenix riot shield. Idaho potato sack. Las Vegas spatula. And then we did Washington, Oregon, and the San Francisco steam train, which was actually in an episode of The Boys. I've seen that before. I've seen
the actual act.
I've seen the act. It was, maybe they read this, and Alaska Fire Dragon. I missed Hawaii. I don't know what Hawaii
Kentucky
is.
lawnmower too, I think.
Was that in The Boys?
It was in something.
I know that the San Francisco steam train was in The Boys. It was like episode 2 or 3. And I remember Weston and Haley and myself watched The Boys. We were watching it separately. And we all, after we watched it, we're like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? They did that on TV. Like, come on. And then they did it for like 8 seconds. I'm like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. Get this off my TV. I don't want to watch this anymore. And if you don't watch The Boys, you can go to Urban Dictionary and see what a San Francisco steam train is. And then you'll know that they actually did that on an episode of The Boys, which is pretty. If you watch The Boys, you know it's very. It's there's some scenes in that are just wow, and that was one of them. So there you go. I did. Did you ever find out the Indiana clown pie?
No.
Okay, let me look. See if I can.
Oh wait, yeah, I did. That one didn't sound that.
It wasn't that bad.
No, I mean it was just covering her face with the.
Okay, got it. I got you. Thank you.
It's not like
You want to elaborate more?
It's not like
No, he does. No, he doesn't.
Just enough for it to look like a clown.
Oh, okay, I got it. So there's makeup involved.
I mean,
Yeah, kind
yeah,
of.
sure, makeup. You called that.
I mean, see, I'm just reading the Las Vegas spatula. There's an egg involved. There's an egg. Like, there's no eggs involved. Nobody says, hey, let me cook up a fried egg real quick and insert this into the, let's see how that
What
goes.
is it, the Las Vegas spatula?
Yeah. It's just, no. So there you go. We cooking this weekend?
Yeah, I'll
You
probably.
any eggs?
Yeah. Not cracking any eggs. I'm going to smoke some pork.
Are you?
Yeah. Get the smoker over there, and
Would that be the Kansas City smoked pork?
no, it wouldn't be the Kansas City smoked pork. It's the Alameda smoked pork. It's not leaving my sight. And then we
Pork butt? Are you going with a butt?
the only thing that will be inserted into the pork butt is a meat thermometer, and like a real meat thermometer.
That
That's
could be
it.
another name.
No,
Alameda meat
yeah,
thermometer.
Alameda meat thermometer. There you go, into the pork butt. Fantastic.
You
So
going
yes.
pork butt?
Yeah, I'm gonna do pork butt. I'll make pork tacos. Just leave that in there about 10 hours. 10 hours tomorrow. It's marinating right now. I got some paprika, salt, pepper, cayenne pepper, chili pepper, salt, pepper, cilantro, garlic, and then filled up half of a gallon bag with fresh orange juice. I'll let that sit overnight, take it out, dry it off, and then put more rub on it and sear it and on each side for like 2-3 minutes, and then stick it in that thing for about 8 hours at about 200 and chill the rest of the day and let it sit there.
You know what? After you take a little piece of it, shred it, a good chunk of it, put it in the frying pan with a little pineapple.
Okay.
And you can have some good carnitas.
Really?
Yeah. Really good.
Huh.
Really good.
Maybe
And crisp it up.
Yeah.
All of it.
I do crisp it up occasionally. I've never put it in there with pineapples.
Yeah, you can. It's
okay.
It adds a little, the sweetness really adds to the, and I don't like pineapple.
You don't?
No, but I do like it in that.
I know you hate pineapple pizza.
It's
and the pineapple pizza is great.
Fruit on a pizza does not go.
But
that's my own opinion. It's like, why not just put a piece of chocolate on there? Would you like that too?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't, but I do like pineapple. Well, it's funny because people aren't just okay with pineapple. Like if you're like, do you want pineapple on the pizza? They don't go, it's fine. No. It's either hell no or hell yeah.
No, it's hell no.
Like if I were to ask you, do you like mushrooms on pizza? Most people go, yeah, it's fine.
Yep. That's
fine. Do you like pepperoni? That's fine. Or whatever. Like, do you like bell pepper? That's fine. Onions, fine. That is, pineapple is one of those ones where everyone will have an opinion. It's like, no one says, yeah, you can put it on there or not.
Well, how about you explain to me the difference of Canadian bacon and ham?
I can't.
Ogden, can you explain the difference in that?
I can't. It's just basically the same.
I guess it's exactly
it's
the same.
Cured a little bit differently, like Canadian.
Well, I know
Canadian
round
bacon,
usually.
Canadian bacon sounds better.
It does.
It does. When you like go, what do you want on your pizza? Canadian bacon or ham? Oh, give me the Canadian bacon. That sounds good.
It's just a part of the pig.
It is part of the pig.
Canadian bacon comes from the back, the loin.
Okay.
Tender and leaner.
Yep. Okay.
Ham comes from the leg, which is less.
Oh, so they are different. Ham and Canadian. Okay. Yeah, I always kind of thought they were the same thing. Okay. So it's a part
At least that's what Google says.
of the pig.
Oh, Google's never wrong.
No, Google's never, ever wrong. You cooking up anything?
Let's see. I cooked up some ribs.
Ooh.
A couple nights ago. Probably not this weekend. I might do some chicken. I'm not going to smoke it. I'll probably just throw it on the barbecue.
Throw it on the barbecue.
Watch the game tomorrow or Sunday. It's game Sunday, isn't it?
Sunday, yes. Yeah, that was. I mean, it wasn't a fun game last night, but at least we got a game 7.
I know.
Indiana stomped them.
Stomped them. Oklahoma City looks so disinterested.
Well, you know what? That's the one thing. They're not a great shooting team. They're just okay. And, Caruso didn't shoot the ball well. Wiggin, they didn't have any other guys step up, like one of their auxiliary guys step up and shoot. And then give Indiana credit. They've been really good at home. Halliburton was phenomenal. I didn't even know that he'd play because of the calf strain. He played well. Siakam played well. Nembhard played well. Neesmith played well. They all played well.
They got about 7 guys that are all built the same way. Long, lean.
Yep.
They're just defensively, they're good. They're all good athletes. I mean, they don't have a set point guard / power forward. They just got a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Really good guys.
No, they're good. They're good. I mean, they're not as good defensively as the Thunder.
No.
Which are historic. They're historic defensively.
And they're young.
They are. They're really young.
And they
really
should get
young.
well, they're going to run into the same thing everybody does. They have to pay everybody.
They got it. And NBA's got to come up with a way that you can pay to keep guys you draft and develop.
No question.
I mean, I'm smart. I draft well. I develop well. Look at the team I built. And now I got to decide who I want to keep because why? Because I got to, these guys count the same as free agents. It makes no sense to me. Like
No.
that should be the goal of every team.
It-
Draft,
in every
develop,
sport.
and win. In
In
every
every sport.
sport. Every sport.
If it's one of your homegrown guys out of your system, then yeah, you should definitely be able to match anything that's offered, and it shouldn't go against the cap
Yeah.
that much extra. It should go okay, the max, whatever it is. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, there's a lot of situations. The whole Klay Thompson thing last year.
Yep.
You know, I don't know if the Warriors necessarily wanted to pay that much money.
Yeah, I think they're okay with the way it turned out. Then I think he wanted to stay, but he wanted that whole thing was because Draymond signed that deal and he wanted that type of deal. So anyway, all right, before we get out of here, we got any comments, Ogden, that you found entertaining, insightful, illuminating, anything? If not, that's fine. Everybody wants to get on the way.
I mean, just somebody completely out of nowhere while you guys were reading the Urban Dictionary, Viagra. Whatever that means.
Just because?
Earlier in the show, somebody said, I'm definitely going to go through a six-pack before they get to Purdy.
That's the whole point.
Didn't think I was doing that on purpose? Of course I was. Of course I was going to do Purdy at the end.
NCAA thing, somebody said, it's a free market situation. Don't involve rules and regulations that will ruin it.
Well, no, it is free market. That's the point. But even in a free market, when you sign with somebody, you sign contracts. I mean, you sign with a company that wants to keep you for a few years. They sign you to a contract. And if you leave that company, they have no competes where you can't go out and work with somebody else. So you can have that, but it can't be a free-for-all where every single year you're jumping from team to team to team. That'd be like, I'm going to go over here and sign. What if the Giants, all their guys could go back into the portal next year and go be a Dodger, go be a fucking National or a Red Sox or a Yankee? And then how would that be in pro sports if you could do that that's why we have contracts. That's why we have contracts. You sign the contract, you honor the contract. Obviously, this kid, Xavier Lucas, didn't. And that's why Wisconsin's suing Miami. And it's the first time it's ever happened that a university has sued another university for tampering with somebody that was under contract.
And this whole thing could have been, not even happened if they'd have just gone with when Ed O'Bannon put out what was it, back in the mid 90s?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
When all they wanted was a few bucks, a couple $100, $300, $400 a month. They could have avoided this whole situation had they done that. It would have increased through time, but it wouldn't have become like it is, where everybody could have got paid a little bit more money. And I know when we were in school, shit, if they were giving us an extra $400, we'd have been ecstatic.
Yeah.
And
that's because they're holding on to the amateurism.
Yep.
It's amateurism.
Yep.
It hasn't been amateurism in a long time. Okay. Roger Staubach ain't coming out to play anymore for Navy. I think he played for Navy.
Well, let me ask you, why are they only going back retro to, what did they say, 2017 or 16? For paying, some people are going to be entitled to NIL money from 2016. What made it 2016? I'd love to find that out. There she is. She's back.
She got loose.
She's back.
Oh, it's Camila. What's up, Squirt? Oh, you let the doggy out. Who let the dogs out?
Yes.
Camila let the dogs out. Who let the dogs out?
I do.
It's
Good thing
both.
she didn't get here about 15 minutes ago.
I know. That was good. Hi, Kai. We got both the grandkids. You want to say hi to everybody? Huh? Come here.
You do. Yes, you
Come
do.
Here. He's like holding on. Okay, say hi to everybody and then.
That's what he does to him. Wow, look at the whole crew. What's with the Angels hat? Now you too.
He was super pumped to come over here and hang out with Grandpa. He was like, "Oh my God!" All right, we're gonna get on out of here. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy. We got a game 7 Sunday, and then we're baseball, and we'll have other stuff too. But we'll get into baseball a little bit more once the basketball season ends. And I think Bergie said at the beginning of the show, we can always talk football. Football is always good to talk. So we'll continue to do that as we get ready for camp and preseason and the start of the regular season. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy. Berg, thanks for coming over.
Love it.
Appreciate it.
As usual,
Thank you so
love
much. Thank you for not bothering us too much, Lou. Thank you, Camila. She's gone or whatever. All right, see you guys. Bye.